September 1st, 1989. Dear Diary, I believe I'm a good person. You know, I think that there's good in everyone, but here we are. First day of senior year. And I look around at these kids that I've known all my life and I ask myself, what happened?
Freak, slut, burnout, bug eyes, poser, lord ass.
We were so tiny, happy and shiny, playing tag and getting chased.
Freak, slut, loser, short bus.
Singing and clapping.
Hello, all you theater lovers, both out and proud and on the DL, and welcome back to Broadway Breakdown, a podcast discussing the history and legacy of American theater's most exclusive address, Broadway. This series is called Problematic ? And it is covering shows that you're mad at and their possible redemption. I am your host, Matt Koplik, the least famous and most opinionated of all the Broadway podcast hosts, and with me today is a dear friend of mine, first time on the pod. You might have seen her across the country in Mamma Mia, or Jesus Ash Christe Superstar, otherwise known as Jesus Christ Superstar, or on Broadway in Mamma Mia, or In Transit.
In Transit, yeah.
In Transit, I remember.
Heard of it?
I have actually.
Maybe a few people have.
I think more,
Not many.
More than a handful, though. A little more people than know my podcast, and I think, and that is history. That's our history. Please welcome to the pod, Chelsea Williams.
Hello.
Hi, baby.
Hi.
How are you doing, love?
Good. This feels like it's been a long time coming.
It has been a long time coming.
A thrill.
We've had this date planned for a long time.
We're like, we talk about this shit when it's just the two of us. We might as well turn the microphones on.
Yeah, the only difference is that there's no whiskey around. But, you know, I do have my honey. Yes. You have your coffee.
It does feel wrong that there's no rosé. Do all the uncultured fucks know about your rosé?
My rosé addiction. I've had a few episodes where I've drunk rosé on the pod.
How'd it go?
Surprisingly okay. The episodes where I've had alcohol, I'm actually more coherent than when I don't.
It slows you down a little bit.
Little bit.
You operate on a higher plane than most of us, let's be honest.
And I can't keep up. I move
with yourself.
I can't. I move so fast. Words start coming out and I go, what was I saying?
Yeah. You might need to, you could use a glass of rosé for me to keep up with you, honestly, because my Broadway knowledge is not as extensive as yours.
Yes, but
I have a lot of thoughts.
Chelsea, you had friends growing up, and that's why my knowledge is so far ahead of yours.
Wow. I mean, allegedly.
Allegedly.
I was mostly playing in the woods.
Listen, trees are friends. Have you not seen Dear Evan Hansen?
I have not seen Dear Evan Hansen. I listened.
Ironically, I think this episode is coming out after the Dear Evan Hansen episode. So
yeah.
there are going to be a lot of connections to the two. So I'm just letting everybody know I apologize if I repeat shit. But you know what? That's what you came here for. Because Chelsea Williams, what musicale are we talking about today?
I'm thrilled to announce that we will be talking about Heathers, the musical.
Yes, one of two off-Broadway shows that we are covering in this series. Usually we try to stick to Broadway, but we had to make an exception because this one was submitted quite a few times when I asked people who listen to the podcast and people who go on my Instagram what it was a show that they considered problematic, and quite a few people said Heathers. And I'm interested to get into it.
Yeah. I'm interested to hear why people think it's problematic. I have my own thoughts, but...
Yes. Well, so first of all, again, I've been saying this a few times, but I like to sort of check in and get back to the basics of every episode and repeat myself a few times before we delve into new territory. Problematic is a word that we've stated on this podcast already, people use incorrectly when they talk about shows, because problematic should be applied to musicals or plays that don't work. Shows where the examples I always use are Merrily and Candide. Try as they might, they can't ever make them congeal. But now it's used to describe shows where people take moral issues with the writing. Yeah. And as I've also said before on this podcast, 99% of the writers of these shows tend to fall on the liberal, progressive, democratic political spectrum, and the people who have the issues with the shows are on the democratic, liberal, progressive end of the spectrum. So I'm like, these people are not hateful towards, these issues. If you have issues with the show, that's a failing in the writing, but it's not like they sat there and went, let's write a show that talks about how gays are stupid and women suck. I'm like, that's not what they're trying to do, but that doesn't mean they don't always fail.
Right.
So, Chelsea, for those who don't know, what is Heathers the Musical about?
Heathers the Musical is based on Heathers the movie, which, if you haven't seen, oh my God, how dare you?
Talk about hateful. Talk about fucking uncultured.
Talk about fucking uncultured. I'm pretty sure it's on Criterion now. I don't know.
If they know what's good for them,
yeah,
it should be.
it is a classic Winona Ryder camp dreamscape. I love the movie. So the musical is based on the movie, and it's basically about a group of teenagers. It's about a high school that is more or less run by 3 popular girls. It's the Mean Girls before Mean Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, without a doubt.
Oh, when the Mean Girls movie first came out, everyone was like, "What's this fucking Heather's Redux bullshit?"
Yeah.
But Mean Girls is a very different kind of take, and we'll talk
Yes.
about some of those similarities of their approaches, both of the movies and the shows.
Yeah.
Yes, but so
Heather's dares to go a little further, in my opinion.
Yes,
Much darker.
Yes. Well, because of this group, there is one girl in the group. Let's try to stick to exactly the musical's telling because they make some changes overall, but. The musical, there's an outsider girl named Veronica Sawyer who gets to join the Heathers for a blissful 3 weeks, and then shit hits the fan. She meets an outsider named JD, and together, what do, Chelsea?
They essentially nearly blow up the high school, but they end up killing a few people in the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
The head Heather, 2 football jocks, and to cover their tracks, they make it look like suicides, and Veronica, who is a master forger, makes their suicide notes and makes them very eloquent and deep, and everyone just sort of flips their tune on these people who they all hated when they were alive.
Yeah. They end up making... They attempt to ruin these people's lives and end up making them more powerful post-mortem.
Absolutely. This is where, that connection, Dear Evan Hansen comes in, y'all. Heathers did it first because the movie was 89, so just know that Dan Waters, man, he was onto something, baby. So, Chelsea, how did this show come into your life? Did it at all?
It did. I managed to see it twice. It was during a different time in my life where I was much more interested in going for blood vocally, which explains why I would be so into something like Heathers, where as I listen to it now and it causes panic. But yeah, I saw it twice off Broadway and I just thought it was so, I didn't love everything about it, but there are some bangers in the score.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I still, every once in a while, I listen to Dead Girl Walking.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, the off-Broadway cast album is a wonderful gym album to listen to because I do like to listen to musical theater when I'm at the gym. Occasionally I'll listen to the Barbie playlist I made for myself, but usually it's musical theater. It's like Wicked, it's Heathers, it's shit like that, Legally Blonde. Because I like having bops, but I also like having a structure. I like it when a song builds, and a lot of pop songs don't really build that way.
No, yeah.
So I like that. And Heathers, I don't have to necessarily think about it. I'll just listen to Beautiful. I'll listen to Dead Girl Walking, and it's fine.
Beautiful's a great opening.
It is. There's a lot about this show that adheres very well to traditional musical theater, and I want to commend that as we go forward because I'm gonna have critiques about the show. But I also, and I was telling Chelsea before we got on mic, full transparency, I have a lot of bias with this show because the movie is so important to me. I love the movie so much. I've known the movie since, like 7th grade, I want to say. I was that kid where,
That's cool. I respect that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Winona Ryder has been very important to me for a very, very long time. I am a giant homosexual, and she's extraordinarily...
You're gay?
I'm very gay.
Oh my God.
Listen, you have me to thank for Stranger Things because I manifested Winona Ryder's comeback.
Wow.
I did. When Black Swan didn't do it, I was like, okay, come on, guys, let's really bring this bitch back.
Wait, you wanted her to be in Black Swan?
She was in Black Swan.
She was in Black Swan?
She's the ballerina Natalie Portman replaces.
Winona Ryder?
Yeah, she's the one. When Natalie Portman's like, "It's such an honor to replace you in this company," and Winona Ryder says to her, "What did you do to get this part? He always said you were such a frigid little girl. Did you suck his cock?"
Wow. Okay, I'm due for a rewatch.
You are due for a rewatch. Speaking of Natalie Portman, y'all, May December, good watch.
Oh
yeah, it's actually very similar to Heathers the movie in the sense of it's very ethereal and it is knowingly campy, which we throw that word around a lot now because people don't really know what it means.
Yeah.
But knowingly campy is really just very smart melodrama played extraordinarily well. It's like John Waters, it's Charles Busch, and a lot of musicals lately have tried to do it and have all failed.
Yeah.
I blame a lack of angry homosexuals on the creative teams. They need to be on those creative teams if you're going to do quote unquote knowing camp. It tends to be a lot of straight men who are like, we're allies. And I'm like, have you seen Pink Flamingos? I don't think you have.
Sometimes I think what makes something actual camp is like not being totally aware of it being camp.
Yeah, well, that's
so knowing camp. Yeah,
yeah, that's what camp is supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's like it's Diana, where you go so hard, earnestly, miss the ball incredibly to the point that you like smack yourself in the head with the bat.
Exactly.
And we all go, that was drama.
Yes, and that's the difference between the film and the stage version,
Yeah.
which once it hit the stage, they knew the movie was camp, so they were going for camp on stage, and it almost ruins the effect.
Yeah, like the movie is actually knowing camp because the movie is not earnest. The movie is incredibly cynical. And the musical came into my life because, as we've mentioned, I'm a giant homosexual. I know all the goings on of the theater. And this show was written by Larry O'Keefe and Kevin Murphy. Larry O'Keefe, at that point, best known for Legally Blonde and Bat Boy, probably still. And then Kevin Murphy, best known for the Reefer Madness musical.
Love. Camp.
That is camp.
Let's talk
Yes.
about camp. Oh,
yeah,
God.
because the original movie is so camp.
Yeah.
And their tone was, let's play that shit up. And
Yeah.
it's so good. They did like 3 readings of it in LA with Kristen Bell as Veronica Sawyer. And I would read about this because of the Reefer Madness connection.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I would
I knew Anna Lee Ashford did like a little.
they
moment.
did it. Yeah, the New York premiere, technically speaking, was a concert at Joe's Pub.
Right.
In between Legally Blonde and Kinky Boots, like 2010, and she was Veronica. And then unknown Jeremy Jordan was JD, or was he known at that point? I don't know if Bonnie and Clyde had happened yet.
Okay.
Jenna Lee Green was the head Heather. James Snyder was one of the football jocks, and I've seen videos of it. It's fine. Annalie does not do all the vocal pyrotechnics that have become known for that show.
Yeah.
But then they did the workshop production in LA with Barrett and Ryan McCartan. Yeah.
He was great.
He was very good. And then the show moved to New World Stages in March in 2014, where it played until August, and I saw it towards the end of the run when Barrett had left. And it was
Okay.
it was Carissa Hoagland, who was very good.
Yes, I saw her. I think I saw her go on as Heather Chandler.
Probably. She went on a lot
One
for
of the
Heather.
times that I saw it.
Yeah, she was an ensemble girl who swung on a lot,
Yeah.
and her 2 main tracks were Heather Chandler and Veronica.
Yeah,
and she went on
damn.
she went on for Heather Chandler a lot at the beginning, and then she started going on for Veronica a lot during the
I
run.
mean,
Yeah. Well, that girl's voice is a beast.
yeah.
Some people's voices just like sit in a certain register, and I think hers just naturally sits up there, which lucky for her.
Just made of steel.
Yeah, yeah. And she's in the very famous bootleg of the show as Heather Chandler that has helped get that show the cult following that it's gotten.
Yeah.
And she's very good. But
Jessica, what's her name? Keenan,
yeah.
who played the original Heather Chandler. Very interesting sound, but I thought she was really great. She's a really great actor.
Yeah. I saw her play Heather Chandler when I saw it towards the end of the run. And she was the only one acting style for me who got the tone of the movie.
Exactly.
Because she didn't play it up. Because the musical does play it up, which I don't love. The movie is a very dark, razor-sharp comedy, very cynical, like
Yes.
very mean-spirited.
Yeah.
Because it comes from a very angry place.
Lots of suicide.
Yeah, and so like the movie, it's important to recognize where the movie was coming from because it comes out at the last, like tail end of the 80s, after a slew of John
Waters.
No, not John Waters.
John Hughes.
John Hughes movies. Breakfast Club, 16
Camp on the
Candles.
Brain.
I know, same. We got it's on there.
John Hughes, yes.
Yeah, John Hughes,
Ugh.
Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful. You know, these movies that are very iconic and so many of them are so wonderful, but like they're very hopeful, like high school's an adventure. Sort of leaning into the Reaganomics Americana, like, you know, our country is number one and like it's the land of opportunity if you have the gumption. What he's not saying is like you also need to have the money. And Heather's basically was an argument to that of like high school's actually kind of the worst.
Terrible.
Yeah, children are awful to each other, like sociopathic towards each other, and you know,
And adults are useless.
very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and no one really wanted to hear that at the time. The movie was probably met with more critical acclaim than any of the John Hughes movies, and bombed at the box office, and then like almost immediately got a following on home video. So like, even though people like to say, oh, like Heathers was such a box office disappointment, I'm like, but the turnaround was so quick because it immediately launched Winona Ryder and Christian Slater as movie stars, despite the fact that quote unquote
So
no
good.
one saw it. Oh no, they're so good.
Yeah. Hot.
Oh yeah,
Hot couple.
hot couple. How do we get into this? Because I'm just talking about the movie right now, and I'm going to talk about the movie a lot, so just buckle up, kids.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to talk about the musical objectively as much as I can. Okay, you know what? Here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
When I asked people to give me topics they wanted us to cover for this episode, the number one thing mentioned all the time was that one of the big changes they made when the show went to London, because it was not in the West End at first. It was some like off West End production that then transferred and sold out and was like a really, really big hit. And they made a lot of changes to it. One of the big ones was a song for Kurt and Ram, the two main high school jocks who JD and Veronica end up killing. And the song in
Deeply problematic characters, but like written to be problematic.
Yes. Well, so this is the part where I would use problematic in the sense of I think that the writers kept on hitting their head against the wall for a moment that they shouldn't have worried about, which is in the movie, after Heather Chandler has been no more'd, and that's what better way to say it, and they have her funeral and all this stuff. In the movie, the second Heather McNamara, asks Veronica if she will go on a double date with her and Kurt and Ram, the football jocks. And Veronica's already with JD at this point, but she was like, fine, I'll do you this favor. And in the movie, the football jocks get drunk and they take them out to the field for cow tipping, and then they immediately smash cut to Ram date raping McNamara while Veronica sort of like stalks away, and then JD takes her away from there, and then other things happen, which we'll get to.
It's dark, y'all.
Yeah. Well, and the way, if you I went into the screenplay to see if like it was written in a specific kind of way, if it was more interpretational, whatever. In the screenplay, it's not written outwardly that that's what Ram is doing. Rather, he's saying like he is on top of a dispirited McNamara, and the director, I think, was like, let's go even hard on that. Let's not make it like she's not into it. Let's make it like she's actively
resisting.
Yeah, she's resisting. And later on, when she describes the encounter, she just describes it as sex, which I think is more of a comment on that kind of culture than what she actually was experiencing in the moment. But O'Keefe and Murphy were like, okay, let's make this scene a musical number, which is, in my mind,
Dare we say
problematic. Yeah. And so the original song was called Blue, and it was a comedy song where in it, Veronica answers a call from McNamara and Duke, who are on this double date with Kurt and Ram, and she literally says like, oh, so to save yourselves from date rape, you're setting me up for date rape? And McNamara goes, God, you make it sound so bad.
Yeah.
Which is a fun line, but it's not as smart. It's more jokey, whereas the movie, it's a little more twisted. And Kurt and Ram then just saying like this big kind of like clownish number about like, Veronica, you make my balls blue. And then they got some pushback on it when people saw the show, because some people were like, oh, you're making fun of date rape. I'm like, I don't think they're making fun of date rape. I think they're just not, they just did a bad job. Which,
yeah, I think they're making fun of men.
They absolutely
like
are.
Teenage boys being idiots.
Absolute idiots. But I read this article that O'Keefe and Murphy wrote for Playbill as they were making changes to Heathers for the West End. And they said, one of the things we have done is we've cut Blue and we wrote a new song because we think we can do better. And they were still in the process. So like some other changes hadn't been done yet that they were hinting that they might do. And they said, we got a lot of complaints from people that thought we were making fun of date rape. I'm like, we do not condone it in any way. We don't think it's funny. Hot take, not a good thing. I'm like, oh my God, you're so brave. Please say it louder for the people in the back.
We as men do not endorse date rape.
Thank you so much, O'Keefe and Murphy.
Really, again, these progressive liberal Democrats writing musicals. Wow.
Just putting themselves out on the line by saying it.
It's
oh my
just
God. I know, they're really sacrificing self. But so they write this new song called "You're Welcome," which is more of like, I don't want to call it darker so much as that what they said was they wanted to make it much more clear the danger of the situation, and they wanted Veronica to have an inner monologue in the moment, which is what it is. She's calculating the risk and how she's going to get out of it, which she does do. And my honest take is there just should be no song there.
Yeah, I agree. We don't need one.
We don't need one.
It's all right. It can just be a scene.
It can just be a scene. Yeah. And the scene does need to be there because when Veronica rejects Kurt in the movie as well as in the show, he retaliates the next day by telling everyone at school that he and Ram had a threesome with her.
Yes.
Which, first of all, the seventh grade, not out of the closet gay boy in me, when I watched the movie, the actors playing Kurt and Ram are very attractive people. And part of me was
please show the threesome.
Yes. And because I was like, how dare they lie about that when I would have done so willingly? Like, they didn't need to be drunk. I would have sent them out handwritten invitations to my home. Be like, sword fight here? Yes,
you
please.
You are cordially invited on Sunday, December
3rd to a threesome with Matt Koplik on the Lazy Susan.
Yes.
Spin him right round, baby.
Back and forth.
Cheers.
Wow. Yeah. Didn't they get rid of the song that was in the off-Broadway version? Isn't there a little song about slut-shaming Veronica at school the next day?
Yeah, it's
and I'm pretty sure that they got rid of that for the West End.
Yeah, because it's a reprise of the song Blue.
Yeah.
And it's like the one thing about Blue that I like is that I think that reprise does pay off a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, again, is it a little simplistic? Yes, but it's slut shaming, and it's Heather Duke sort of taking the narrative that Veronica had this three-way and using it to slander Veronica's name very quickly. The two reprises they give Heather Duke in the off-Broadway version, like, those are solid reprises, because then she also has the Shine a Light reprise for McNamara, which are some of my favorite lyrics in the show. Mm-hmm. But also, like, there's so little nuance in so many modern day musicals, and I don't think that the writers of Heather's the musical are interested in that kind of nuance. They kind of, from what I gathered from all the information I read, they were much more interested in the hero's journey of Veronica than on the social commentary of the piece. Because in the movie, Veronica's not a nice person.
No. Which makes her a very interesting character.
Yeah. Actually, no, let me take that back. Veronica's not a kind person. She's nice, she's not kind. Because
she has motives that are very much, she's self-motivated to become popular, to get out of her small town, to go to an Ivy League school, Yeah.
So it's very interesting to think about where the musical and the movie start. Because in the musical, it starts with senior year, Veronica's unpopular, and the whole opening number is how she gets in line with the Heathers. Mm-hmm. In the movie, she's already popular, and it's junior year, and she's, from what we understand, has been popular for a very long time at this point.
Veronica?
Yeah.
Oh.
When the movie begins, she's already with the Heathers.
Okay.
And like there's already a rapport that gives you the indication that they've been a group for a while now, because Veronica's over it. She's not happy in her situation anymore. And
yes, okay, now it's coming back.
Yes, like she and Heather Chandler are the one that everybody fears. Like Veronica's the only one who doesn't have like outward fear of Heather Chandler in the movie. She's the only one who's ever able to kind of like talk back to her a little bit. She can't talk back that much, as we learned. There's a boundary, but in the opening scene, she's the only one who like actually converses with her, whereas everyone else like bows down to her. It's a different perspective. Whereas in the musical, she's an outsider who becomes popular for 3 weeks, and then it's sort of watching her, sort of fight to survive. The movie, Larry O'Keefe and Kevin Murphy were like, we really wanted to know, like, how could such a nice, smart, empathetic girl get dragged into such a horrible scheme with JD? I'm like, she's not that sweet in the movie. She's pretty complicit. She does a lot of shitty things because even though she complains that Heather Chandler is a monster, that the hierarchy is unfair, she benefits from it.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to lose her privilege, but she just wants everyone to get along, which is ultimately what I love about how the movie ends, is like the change she makes is simply by going up to Martha Dunstock and saying, do you want to hang out tonight? I'm using my social cachet to offer you a helping hand. As opposed to like, oh, let me like try to, take down this one monster behind the scenes and that other monster, and then everything will be good. And the musical is, no, let's watch this like hero fight against adversity. I'm like, Veronica's kind of an anti-hero, but the musical's not interested in that. They want the audience to like her as well as root for her. And I think in the movie you root for her even when you don't always like her.
Interesting. I do think the moral dilemma that she goes through in the musical, with writing the letter, the fake letter that Martha receives that she thinks is from her crush. I can't remember if it's Ram or
it's Ram.
Yeah, Ram. And then she she has to go through a lot where she reckons with being a shitty person in order to benefit from being around the Heathers, and that to me is interesting to watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's compelling musical theater. This is where like my bias comes in. I'm like, they're on a musical theater level, they're doing what they should be doing. And I'm like, why am I not thrilled?
But there is more of a desperation in the musical, whereas Winona's Veronica to me is just kind of bored.
Yeah.
Which makes her a little, like not as kind. The fact that she's just kind of like toying with people like JD, who has this danger to him, and she's bored with the dynamic that she has with the Heathers. So she's like, how can I kind of, disrupt this, be a little chaotic?
Yeah, because the role of Martha Dunstock in the musical is a combination of two characters in the movie, Martha Dunstock and Betty Finn.
Okay, yeah, Betty.
Yeah, Betty is, in the movie, Veronica's childhood friend.
Yeah. Who
she hasn't really been friends with for years now. But she's like still nice to her. And, they'd never hang out. There's like a moment where in the opening sequence, Veronica apologizes for not being able to make it to Betty's party. And she's like, oh, it's okay. You had a date. I understand. And like, which is just, Veronica doesn't go to an event that she's personally invited to for a date. It's not like she had a college interview or like something real. It was something that you could always
reschedule.
Yeah. And in the movie, Martha Dunstock is a character we never hear from until the very, very end. She has no lines ever. And she's a punching bag all the time simply because of how she looks.
Yeah.
She's heavier. She's a little, I'm sorry to, use gender norms, but like she's a little butch looking. And in 1989, Ohio, where gender norms are the status, where money
very
is
binary.
Very binary. And like, there's a very specific kind of look you have to have, which we can also talk about with casting with the musical as well. But like, there's a very famous story that Winona Ryder really wanted to play Veronica, and I think they were looking for Jennifer Connelly, who had just done Labyrinth, who was very beautiful woman. But the writer and director of Heathers, Winona had just done Beetlejuice. They're like, you're not pretty enough. Which
that is insane.
I know. Well, we look back and we're like, that's insane. And Winona's always like, to be fair to them, like they had only seen me in Beetlejuice where I look like a ghoul. And for
but like still,
I know.
Yeah,
no, but like
Hollywood of it all.
Yeah, but the thing with Heathers is like, it's not just that you have to be pretty. Like it's a very specific, stereotypical, what America has told young girls for decades now is pretty.
Yeah,
which is thin, fluffy hair, a certain kind of makeup. Like it's not so much objectively pretty so much it's a specific kind of look. And that's important because the only reason why Veronica is in the Heathers is because she also has money. And something happens when children start to develop and hormones and sexual attraction come into play. You start to recognize like who's attracting other people based solely on their looks,
which is power.
Absolute power. And especially for someone like Heather Chandler, recognizing that Veronica is just as stereotypically attractive as she is. She was like, the only way that this girl will not undermine my authority is if she joins.
We're allies.
Exactly. So like the musical makes it that Veronica joins senior year of high school. They don't ever say in the movie when it happens. My theory is that it happened sometime in middle school.
Yeah, they like grew up together. They've known each other for a long time.
They all grew up together, and then somewhere in middle school, and they all started to develop. Veronica joined the clique, and she willingly did so because they had influence.
It made sense. Yeah.
Exactly. And Heather even says to her in the movie at some point, like, you used to have a sense of humor, which means like for a long time, Veronica was totally okay with everything that they all did. It's only recently that she's having this existential crisis.
Yes. Yeah.
What's a song you really love in this musical and why?
Okay. There's a couple. Obviously, Dead Girl Walking. Great song. It's a great build, like you were talking about. It as a, oh God, how old was I when I came out? Like 22-year-old when I first saw it. It was like vocally everything I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Now, not so much.
Sure.
We're playing a little safer these days. But yeah, I was a big fan of Barrett Wilbert Weed back in the day, and I just thought she was incredible and had such a unique sound. And I loved the darkness of it and how open she was about being a sexual teenager, and like she's drunk in the song. It's very messy, it's very forward, it's very edgy. I also love JD's song Meant to Be Yours, and I dream of singing that in some sort of, not that we have gender bent cabarets anymore. We're a little past that, but you know what I mean. I'd love to give that one a go.
Is Pronoun Showdown no longer happening? If
I
you're below?
feel like probably not. I hope not. Honestly.
I don't know. I don't pay attention. I just remember for a while every 3 months there'd be some slew of videos.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, by the way, that Pronoun Showdown was it's not just gender bent, but also you have to change all of the pronouns too.
Yeah.
So Ryan McCartan did do Dead Girl Walking, but he did it from the point of view of JD. So it's you had to wake me, and I'm like, just sing the song with the lyrics. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Who can't relate to the lyric? I decided I must ride you till I break you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry, that's everyone. Every single
hot
person.
and pissed and on the pill.
Yeah.
I mean, the song ends, if you haven't seen it on stage, if you've only listened to it, the very end of the song where they are literally fucking.
Yeah.
And the final, yeah, she's riding him.
Yeah.
Shirt off, bra on. And I just in the audience as a young person, I was like, this is a thrill and a half. This is what I like. Considering that so many musicals are very tame, and sex is not really portrayed; it's only implied, or it's more about romance and less about sexual desire.
Yeah.
And that's something that I loved about Heathers, is how raunchy and real in that way it was, of having this boundless sexual energy as a teenager, very hormonal. And I thought that they captured that pretty well in that song. And also I could really relate to being attracted to this dark energy of JD. I'll admit it. It's fine. There's something so twisted about their love affair, and it's toxic. And I just thought it was extremely hot back in the day. Christian Slater too. Just you remember those guys that are just slightly unhinged, and you see them and you're like, you would do things to me that all these other men on Hinge are claim to want to do, but really when it comes down to it, JD will toss you around.
Yeah, although in the show, she's the one who's breaking him.
Right.
Yeah. So
because I think it unlocks something for her.
And that eventually unlocks something in him. They talk about this with the writing of the show, where in the movie, JD's much more of a sociopath who plots throughout, and Veronica is kind of along for the ride. Mm-hmm. And the musical, what they chose, which I think is actually a very interesting way to go about it, is they make him a very in pain teenager who's the first 20-ish minutes numb inside, which is literally a lyric in Dead Girl Walking.
Freeze your brain.
Taking that ice, make that pain with more pain. But when in Dead Girl Walking, there's that bridge where Veronica says to him, you say you're numb inside, but I don't agree. And then he eventually says later on in the musical, you unlocked something in me.
Yeah.
And now, all of my feelings are coming out.
Yeah.
And it's sort of JD's had a breakthrough, but the problem with the breakthrough is there isn't growth behind it. It's it's just pure chaos and madness.
Yeah, he needs to be medicated.
Absolutely. But that edge that you talk about, I think it's an excitement of something that's new and different that ultimately, it never ends up well for anybody. Mm-hmm. Anytime,
it might feel good to have someone be obsessed with you, but it's never going to end well.
Exactly. Every time there's the quote unquote bad boy in any work, any story, it never ends well. We talk about Gilmore Girls and people were so Team Jess. I was Team Jess when I was a kid, and I look back on it now and I look at that storyline. It's so fascinating because you could call the Rory Jess thing problematic, but Amy Sherman Palladino, to her credit, very much acknowledges early on that this relationship is not a good idea and it's not going to end well. And, you become a lesser version of yourself when you start catering to the needs of someone who has nothing figured out for themselves at all. You lose part of yourself as you try to adhere to the randomness of this bad boy persona,
I feel like I know. I've never seen Gilmore Girls.
Hateful.
But I feel like this is a very classic trope of a relationship.
Yeah.
That I'm sure I understand what you mean.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, listen, one thing that somebody wrote in was like, hateful. So hateful. Oh, actually, before we go any further, we have to take a quick break.
Billy, I beg to differ with you.
How do you mean?
You're the top.
Yeah?
You're an arrow color. You're the top. You're a Coolidge dollar. You're the nimble tread of the feet of Fred.
And we're back.
We're back.
Well, welcome to the pod, Chelsea, where we have monetization. We have commercials.
I'm
now.
happy for you.
Thank you. I make dollars upon dollars.
Yes.
I make enough money per month to see a movie.
For now.
For now. Now I would say I make enough money to see 3 movies a month.
Wow. Do you want to sponsor, Matt? You want to sponsor Broadway Breakdown? Come on.
Yeah, come
Call
on.
Call your people.
Call your representatives,
Let's go.
people.
Yes.
We got George Santos out of Congress. Now let's do it again. Let's get me in Congress.
Yes. Oh, my God. Let's burn this shit to the ground.
Oh, God. If I would get in there, I would just start writing everyone while singing Dead Girl Walking, and we would get shit done.
Yes.
Actually, one thing I do love about Dead Girl Walking just is truly the agency of Veronica in that number of just the...
It's really satisfying. Dead Girl Walking in the musical is so satisfying because it's right after she goes to this hellish party where a lot of shit goes wrong. She throws up on Heather Chandler and everyone turns against her. And after she's worked so hard to rise in the ranks with the Heathers, they're like, you're going to be essentially canceled at school. Like, you couldn't transfer anywhere where you'd be safe after this. So she's like, fuck it all. I'm going to go for what I really want. And I'm going to fuck this like crazy guy who's been obsessed with me. And it just like, was very thrilling to watch. I just remember being like, yes, like the chaos, go for it. It's matched musically.
Yeah. I want to talk about the party because that's actually something where I think they, in my opinion, actually shat the bed.
Ooh.
Based on the party in the movie and how it is in the show, where I'm like, I don't think you understand the details of the party of the movie. But then that's juxtaposed by Dead Girl Walking, where I'm like, oh, here's a change I like.
Yeah.
And a song where, again, as you said, like the music does match that energy,
Yes.
and it does build in a really satisfying way. And I think the lyrics are very clever.
Yeah.
Come on, you know the drill. I'm hot and pissed and on the pill. So fucking good. And I think what I like about what Barrett does in it is she has that blasé attitude that Winona is so perfect of in the movie, juxtaposed with the like ferociousness of the vocals.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like she's not playing it up in a way that I think a lot of Veronicas have in, subsequent amateur productions or regional productions. She's just, the dryness of her tone makes it funnier.
Yeah.
The dead face of her shh and all that.
I don't really want like a wholesome Veronica. I don't want a Veronica that's like a classic ingenue.
Yeah. And I think part of my issue is reading what Kevin Murphy and Larry O'Keefe talk about with writing the musical, even though like it is bonkers and edgy in all these ways because it has to be if it's based off of the movie. Like they did go for ultimately a more wholesome Heathers when musicalizing it. Like that, they kept saying was we kept thinking about the positive, keep playing the positive. I'm like, it's fucking Heathers, dude.
Right.
There is no positive. It's
Yeah.
all acid laced candy.
Yeah.
But I digress. What is a song you don't like besides Blue? Obviously,
I don't like Candy Store. I'll just say it. Do you?
Do I like it? No.
I bring that one up because I feel like that's one of the more popular songs from the show.
It is.
And it just doesn't hit for me.
Do I like it? No. Do I listen to it on the treadmill? Absolutely. It's a song where it's not unmelodic. It's not like the lyrics are terrible. For me, it's just not a number that Heather Chandler sings.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No.
So like this is how you know Chelsea Williams and I have known each other for 15 years. Jesus Christ. She will tell me straight out, you're making no sense. Explain yourself.
You're gonna have to give me a second try here.
Well, so okay, here is something that I actually appreciated about the Mean Girls musical, and I say something because it's like one of 5 things. When they introduced Regina George in the musical, her opening number is not a high belting number. It's very quiet, it's low, it's sultry. And Jeff Richmond, the composer / Tina Fey's husband, said he had this idea of Regina George being introduced as like a Bond villain. He goes, and Bond villains never come in with a bang. They come in very quietly.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly, because they've got nothing to prove.
Yeah.
It was, and I loved that. And I have audio of the very first preview of Mean Girls in DC. And when Taylor begins that, my name is Richie, the audience loses it.
Yeah.
Because they are expecting Candy Store. But instead they get GoldenEye, the theme song.
Yeah.
And
Very smart.
Very smart.
And you get the payoff later when she sings her huge...
Yeah, when she sings World Burn and I mean, that's...
The other one.
The other songs. And listen, I have issues with Mean Girls as well. I've talked about it before. Every song in Mean Girls, for the most part, is melody, melody, melody. Final verse goes up the octave, and then they close it out. I'm like, that's not a build, and you're destroying women's voices. But we will get to that subject later.
Help! SOS!
SOS! Stop ruining women.
Jesus.
I love them too much. They give me so much in this world. But we'll get to destroying voices later as we talk about Heather's. But this is true. But, yeah. But so like with Heather Chandler. And I guess this is how I can also sort of talk about the party. I'm going to talk about an element of the party as I talk about Heather Chandler, and then we'll talk about it more so later. But Heather is truly a cool, calm, collected dictator of her school. She doesn't rule necessarily with fear, not outward fear anyway. Mm-hmm. She's not brazen.
She's never trying that hard.
No, she's very confident. There's a great moment in the movie, in that opening sequence in the cafeteria when they're doing the lunchtime poll. Oh, I'm sorry, I just love the movie so much.
Paint the picture.
Paint the picture. So Heather Chandler in the movie, one of her things is like she would always conduct the lunchtime poll that would get put in the newspaper every week. And so Heather always has to come up with the question. And it's a dumb question of like, you win that publisher sweepstake competition, and the same day that you get the $5 million check, aliens land on the earth and say they're going to blow it up in 2 days. What do you do with the money? And like Veronica has to stand there as they go to like all the popular kids and like roll her eyes. And ultimately Veronica convinces Heather to talk to like the less popular people just by like outwardly being a bitch to the popular rich kids. But one of the things she says to her is like, doesn't it bother you that everyone in the school thinks you're a piranha? And Heather says without missing a beat, I could give a shit. They all want me as a friend or a fuck. I am worshipped at Westerberg, and I'm only a junior. And she says it with such authority. Fuck me gently with a chainsaw. Do I look like Mother Teresa to you?
Oh my God. I need it as a bumper sticker. I need it as a t-shirt.
Absolutely.
I need it on a hat.
But like,
fuck me gently with a chainsaw.
But Heather also knows the importance of decorum. Like, you don't outwardly mock people. You do it privately and very intelligently, because when they're doing... The whole conversation happens because they're doing the question to a bunch of the yuppie kids. And no one actually likes Heather. Like, they're like, oh, fuck, here she comes. And then she shows up. And the moment Heather compliments, like, one of their cardigans, they get, like, very flustered. And when one of the girls goes, if I had that money, I'd give it all to the homeless, every cent. And Veronica just looks at her and goes, you're beautiful. And walks away. And Heather goes, if you're going to outwardly be a bitch, like, she's like, you can't just do that.
Yeah, it's so twisted.
Like, Heather is... so calculated and evil, but she's like, you don't do that in public, you idiot.
There are rules.
There are rules. But what that calm, cool collectedness is important to Heather, which is why I think Candy Store is not her song. She needs a song that is much more like that kind of energy, that my name is Regina George number. I don't love the like it's a fun bop of a number that, like, if you were to tell me, you know, in the sense of like, no, yeah, it's not unmelodic. I just don't think it fits.
I mean, I didn't even like the choreography.
Oh, I don't like the choreography of the original production. I think it's messy.
Yeah, totally. And just kind of basic. Like, I just, of Candy Store specifically, I was like, you know, I don't know.
Well, they play into the sexiness of it. That the thing you love so much about Dead Girl Walking is actually the opposite of that in Candy Store. Which I think you could argue, if it were done better, is a commentary that Heather's play sex, but Heather actually goes out and rides someone.
Yeah.
But
Veronica does.
Oh, sorry, Veronica,
yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't think that the choreography is good enough for that to really land. Mm-hmm. I think because the Heathers don't, in the movie, they don't play sexy. They just play power.
Yeah.
They've got nothing to prove. They're just so naturally beautiful. Everybody wants them.
Yes.
And like, and so fascinating is the way that like Veronica dresses. Veronica doesn't dress super feminine. Like, she has these giant overcoats and like big padded shoulders, and yet all the guys in school are still like, I want her over most of the other Heathers. And it's that sort of not caring attitude of like, it doesn't matter what I wear, even though what I wear still happens to be iconic. And there's such a try-hard quality to a lot of the music of Heathers and how they musicalize those characters that I don't get the power. I just get, edgy.
Yeah. Yeah. I am reminded of the line, I think it's in the opening, it's in Beautiful, when the Heathers are first being introduced.
Yeah.
And that guy, just random ensemble guy, says, I'd like to photograph Heather naked and tied up in an abandoned warehouse and leave her for the rats. I honestly, that to me did capture the spirit of the movie, in
1000%.
that these people laud the Heathers. They're obsessed with them. They would do anything for them, and they fantasize about doing the worst things to them. Like, that encapsulates the Heathers on the whole completely, in that we follow these rules and we respect the chain of command, but we wish secretly that we could just like tear them to bits, and like we fantasize about the worst possible things. Like, everyone's a bad person.
Yeah.
Everyone.
We're all selfish assholes.
Yeah. Like, no one is an angel.
We're toxic meatbags roaming this earth.
Yes. And I love that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the Heathers makes the movie specifically, I think, appealed to me so much when I first saw it, because I was like, yes, I'm a shitbag. I'm terrible. We all suck. Like, why are we all pretending like we're angels, or like our moral compasses are actually, I mean, of course they are. We'll pretend that they're getting us somewhere. They are. We all have an ethical code, but like, we all also have deep, dark, twisted fantasies. And I like that. I like that the film really puts that on display.
I mean, we're all just naturally predators.
Right.
And it's our more developed brains that have taught us the immorality of just constantly being on the defense and on the prowl. But that clashes within us all the time. I mean, listen, you and I both have had life experiences that have taught us that, how like we do this, how other people do this. Every time we think we've become more evolved as a species, something happens in our lives where we go, oh, right, we're all just toxic animals.
Yeah.
Who
Ellen, like huge, like these icons, everyone has skeletons in their closet. Everyone has deep, dark desires that they wouldn't want out in the public. And we secretly, I mean, I will speak for you all when I say we secretly love it when it comes out that someone who has been revered as being perfect is actually just like the rest of us, in that they can be mean, they can be foul, they want to have weird sex, they want to like, it's like, it's human.
And our predatorial instincts kick in when that happens, because then rather than us going, oh, you're human too, and I recognize that makes me feel better, it's, I can feel even better now of tearing you down.
Yeah. Especially women. Ooh.
Oh, especially
we
women.
love to tear them down.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. I love nothing more than to tear down a powerful woman. It makes me forget for 5 minutes that I have absolutely no footprint in this world when I say that Ellen DeGeneres can go to Helen.
Yeah, wow. Some of your finest work.
Some of my finest work.
We love women.
Speak for yourself. You don't speak for everyone, Chelsea Williams. Broadway Breakdown hates women.
I'm a proud woman.
Yeah, you want to keep that secret. Only men are allowed to be proud women, okay?
Oh my God.
Have we learned
It's 2023.
Is it though? Have we learned nothing from this entire series, from this industry? The only people who are allowed to be proud women are men.
Wait, okay, I want to know which song you really like.
I do like Dead Girl Walking. Bop, bop, bop. My issue with Heathers often is my contrast of, this really works as a musical theater song, but I don't think it always works for Heathers. It's similar to me with the Wild Party, the Andrew Lippa version, where I'm like, you made this poem fit relatively well for the structure of musical theater, but I don't think you actually did justice to the poem.
Okay.
Which we don't have to get into. I've talked about that enough already, but...
Love the Wild Party.
I love the L'Accusa Wild Party, and I love songs from the Lippa Wild Party.
Yeah.
I love it. I've done that show, and when I see people do songs from it in cabarets, I'm like, "Fuck yeah, this song slaps!" And then
it
you watch,
really does.
And then you watch it in context, and you're like, "Okay."
See, I've never. Yeah, that's my problem. I've never seen it on stage, but
Yeah.
that the cast recording
Cast recording's great.
lives with me.
Yeah, those vocals are insane. And I did have a very long conversation with someone involved with the Lippa Wild Party, accidentally. So, welcome to the podcast, everybody. We're back on the tangents. But so like I make jokes of like I'm the least famous Broadway podcaster and all this other shit, and like for now. But the truth is like in the last like 2 years I have gotten to know a lot more people in the industry. I wouldn't say that I'm like a part of it, but I know people now, so I'm a little more careful about like when I'm being a twat about my opinions.
Yeah.
But so I had someone write a review of the podcast a while back that was like, I love this podcast, and Matt will tell you like all the right things, like which one's the better Wild Party. And someone involved in the Lippa one saw it, and he was like, so which is the better one? I was like, well, do you want me to actually like
It's a matter of opinion.
Yeah. And I was like, by the way, we're having this conversation while you're at your lake house and I'm at my desk job for my temp job. Like, can recognize the levels here.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't love that I have to talk you off the ledge right now with, your comfort. But this person is a friend, and like it was just me saying like, here's what I like and don't like about this Lippa version, and what I do and don't like about the Lacusa one. And bringing it back to Heather's, ultimately it was, the poem of the Wild Party is plotless, but it is a very dark, cynical look into monsters of human beings, and especially in the entertainment industry, which it was like the first expose of, hey, those entertainers who make you laugh and cry in the theater, when they go home, they fuck like weirdos and they do coke and they do all these crazy things.
Depraved.
Yeah, which we all are.
Yep.
Think about the worst thing any person's ever done in your life. Like, I guarantee you, they've done something worse than what you're thinking of. It's just who we are.
Yeah.
And the hope is you learn from it, bounce back from it, and try not to get that dark again. But the Lippa one's like, I want to add catharsis. I want to add, an origin story to the Queenie Burrs relationship and all this stuff. And Lacusa's version is like, it doesn't matter how Queenie and Burrs met. They're here now. They're fucking. It's miserable because it's violent and abusive. And like, we have empathy for them as human beings, but we also don't have sympathy for them. And I think Lippa wants to add empathy and sympathy. And it's the same thing with the Heathers musical. They want sympathy for JD and Veronica, whereas the movie's like, you can empathize because who doesn't feel like an outsider, who doesn't feel like pressure's always coming down on you, but don't sympathize with them. Like, even Veronica.
Yeah, they're making bad choices.
Constant bad choices. There is a great twist of a moment in the movie, which they turn into a number in the show. When Kurt and Ram tell everyone that they had the sword fight in Veronica's mouth in the movie and in the musical, which women look at that and they go, how dare they? And I look at that and I'm like, please tell everyone that we did it.
Wow, sounds uncomfortable.
Chelsea,
Don't.
the best work you do comes when you're uncomfortable.
Oh my God.
It's like you didn't go to theater school. Kurt,
Okay, what's the song that comes out of this moment?
Chelsea, how dare you bring us back to the topic? But so Veronica and JD get their revenge by staging Kurt and Ram in a double suicide situation with a letter.
Homoerotic.
With a letter claiming that they were lovers and that the homophobia of the world meant that they couldn't survive it, which is of course not true. It was them having fun at their expense. Veronica choosing to believe that the bullets they have are tranquilizer darts, and then learning too late that they're not.
Yeah.
And at their funeral, I think it's Ram's dad or Kurt's dad, it doesn't matter who. In the movie, he is crying over his son's body and says, I love my dead gay son. And that becomes
iconic.
Great line. And it becomes
Need it on a shirt.
Yes, and it becomes a number in Act 2 because it's such an iconic line. But what the movie does with that line is, JD and Veronica are at the funeral, and it's the second one they've been to because Heather Chandler had a funeral. And JD whispers in Veronica's ear, how do you think he would have felt about a gay son with a pulse? Ultimately saying, like, if he were alive, you would not love your dead gay son. And it makes Veronica start to laugh. And as she's laughing, a little girl in the front row who's probably like Kurt or Ram's sister, wearing their letter jacket, turns around, hearing it with tears in her eyes, and it makes Veronica stop, and she realizes, like, we're having fun at their expense, but, like, people are being affected by our actions.
Yeah.
And it's just a quick moment. And it's a turning point for her for sure. Because at that time, all she can think about is
I like that.
the awfulness of the people that they have killed. In her,
The power and control that they have over these people. They're playing people like puppets.
yeah, and JD keeps convincing Veronica that they've been doing the right things. Heather Chandler was a monster. We did the right thing by getting rid of her. And hey, by the way, we accidentally did her a solid by writing her this beautiful suicide note. So now people think she's someone she never actually was. And Kurt and Ram, and what JD says to her is like, what does it matter if they're dead? What were they going to contribute to the world but more pain?
Right.
And so Veronica's like, sure, you're right. And then she was like, but we've actually caused pain now because there are people who did love these guys, and they are going to be forever traumatized by this.
There's a line in the musical in the opening number where Veronica says, she's introducing Ram or the other one. She's like, he's the smartest guy on the football team, which is kind of like, and then I think she says something about like little people.
Yes. Well, she says, it's kind of like being the tallest dwarf.
There it is.
That's the line.
There it is.
Going back to that party I was talking about.
Yeah.
So this is a detail that I think is very important to the person that Heather Chandler is. And again, how she sort of rules the school. In the musicale, it is a high school party that everyone is at. Mm-hmm. And depending on your staging, Heather Chandler could be making out with Kurt or Ram. It doesn't matter who. But I know I think in the off-Broadway one, she's basically like dry humping Kurt. In the movie, it is not the high school party they go to. It is a college party.
Ooh, stakes are a little higher.
A little higher. Heather Chandler does not go to high school parties. She only goes to college parties.
Oof, yeah.
And in fact, there's a line she has with Veronica when they're playing croquet, which I don't think they actually ever do in the musical.
Yes,
no, wait,
okay.
they do.
This
very
is coming
quickly.
back. Yeah.
They do. They play croquet like for 1 second or whatever. Yeah. But they're playing croquet, and it's after JD has shot blanks at Kurt and Ram in the movie, and they're talking about like who he is and how crazy he is, and Heather says to Veronica, like, you sound pretty interested. I thought you'd given up on high school boys. Implying that Veronica has sort of taken Heather Chandler's lead of, high school guys are they're children. We go for older men. Mm-hmm. And she brings Veronica along, just the two of them, to this college party. And so while Heather plays a big game in high school, because she's the biggest fish in a small pond, at the party, you see how she's, even though they've leveled up, quote unquote, she's no longer like the dominant one when they get there. They get there, they're like already a little overdressed. And
you see her in like a little bit of a weaker state than normal.
Yeah, because the guy that she's sort of kind of seeing is definitely has power over her.
Yeah.
Like, they show up because Veronica's there basically to be like the double date for Heather's guy, and it's a brilliant moment because they show up.
I forgot about
they show up and they're like, "You girls bring your party hats on," and she's like, "Let's party." And the boys then start like whispering to each other.
Yeah, they're
and
like
laughing.
prey.
Yeah, and you can see how Heather and Veronica knows that that's what they are, but she's already kind of like over it. Heather's pretending it's not what the case, but she knows it's the case, and you see how the actress is like trying to keep her head up high, but she knows that she's now vulnerable.
Yeah, she feels the threat.
And then the next time we see her, he has taken her away into his room, and she's like, "Can't we go back to the party?" He goes, "Eventually."
Statutory.
Yeah, he's like, "But you're just so hot," and he makes her perform oral sex on him. And the next time we see Heather after that is she's in the bathroom gargling water, looks at herself, and spits at her reflection.
Oh my God, it's so good. Why do we like this?
Why do we like it?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's because it's so dark, but it's so real. And I find that I don't know, it really fulfills me to watch something like that.
I think what it does is it talks about the things that people don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
I mentioned it for a hot second earlier, and I need you to watch it eventually. I watched it last night, so it's just immediately on my brain. The new movie May December on Netflix,
right,
with Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, and Charles Melton. And Julianne Moore's character, who is, Mary Kay Letourneau, is that her name? That's basically who she's playing, the older woman who had the affair with the 7th grader, and now they're married, and it's 24 years later. Yeah, it's the whole thing. And talk about, like, melodramatic camp. But her character's trait is, like, she doesn't like to dwell on the past, and she doesn't like to talk about sad things. And the result of that is, like, she has bouts of crying fits in the middle of the night for no reason. Because she's just constantly repressing.
Yeah, unprocessed trauma.
Just like, if you're sad, be sad and talk about it. Like, get through it. And if the things are bothering you, open up about them. And if something's not working, like, you have to either fix it or you have to walk away. And Heathers is a movie that just boldly is like, hey, it's all kind of terrible. Even like the good stuff can be terrible, and the people,
Life is pain.
And the people have the power in one space. They go to the next space and they become the prey, and they do things they don't want to do.
No one is exempt from suffering. Well, obviously that deserves a little bit more nuance, but like
Sure.
suffering is a part of life, and I think when a picture is painted of someone who is perfect and privileged to the point that it seems like they don't experience any suffering. When you get those flashes of self-loathing or pain, anything like that, it's like, it feels like you caught something like
Human
and special, and it feels special because it happens so quickly and it's gone, which is why, Ellen, when people rise so high, like they will fall, and when
Every
we see
time.
it happen, we're like, wow, we are witnessing
Yeah.
something really special right now. And it's just nice to have that reminder that everyone hates themselves at some point.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that?
Absolutely.
I think so.
Oh God.
Whether you're willing to admit it or not.
I think to have self-awareness means sometimes you will have self-loathing, because
Yeah, that's why geniuses are like, often prone to bleep.
madness. Oh, well, we can say unaliving.
Unaliving, yeah.
Listen,
Redacted.
But this whole podcast has been covering a lot of topics that are very sensitive, and I've been saying,
Thusly why this falls under the problematic umbrella.
yeah, well, because once you start talking about things like suicide, murder, date rape, things like that, the question becomes, how are you approaching it? And if there's anything resembling humor, people go, no, you cannot do that. And first of all, humor does not necessarily mean you are lessening the impact of something, that you are making fun of something, making fun of victims. If you can find humor out of the darkest things in the world, I think that's a specific kind of genius.
Yes.
I mean, The Pillow Man, I think, is one of the most brilliant plays of the last 30 years, and it finds humor out of one of the most twisted stories I've ever seen. But, and we just
We
did
love you, John Patrick Shanley.
Martin McDonough.
We love you, Martin McDonough.
Yeah. John Patrick.
Redacted.
Redacted. Well, John Patrick Shanley.
Dreamer examines his pillow. That's what I was getting
Yeah.
the two pillows
You-
mixed up. My theater school. Sorry, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. But also John Patrick Shanley with Doubt. Doubt.
Yes.
There is humor in Doubt that people don't realize because it's so dramatic.
Get ready, Tyne Daly.
Oh my fucking God.
Can't wait.
I cannot wait.
wait.
It's so fascinating to me that, for me, like, the two events of the spring season of Broadway are Uncle Vanya and Doubt.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what about Safs and Lampika? I'm like, they exist. They're there. I hope they're good.
Yeah.
But, like, Doubt and Uncle Vanya. Especially with that fucking cast of Vanya.
Be there with bells on.
Oh, yeah. Who needs poppers when
I'm
you've got that
looking
cast?
forward to
Anika Noni Rose
Yeah.
doing Chekhov with Steve Carell as
You're
my
going
poppers.
to walk out of Vanya just wide open, ready to go.
That is, so when Veronica and JD are like planting the evidence that Kurt and Ram were gay with like a signed Joan Crawford postcard, I'm like, if they had tickets for the Lincoln Center Theater Uncle Vanya, everyone would be like, they were gay! with signed by Anika Noni Rose, they're like, they were homosexuals. Yeah, I don't know any straight men who are as obsessed with Anika as I am, but again, that's where I was a special child. I was a 14-year-old who saw Carolina change.
Okay, I was like, when were you first? I feel like I'm not as cultured as you. Growing up in New York City, I feel like I first knew her from Princess and the Frog.
Probably,
Yeah.
or the Dreamgirls movie, but she wasn't. Her part wasn't really big in the Dreamgirls movie. They cut
Right.
a lot of her stuff.
Yeah.
No, I am very cultured, as we all know. I saw Angels in America at the prime age of 19.
Wow. And like, what else is there to know about theater, really? You might as well get an honorary doctorate.
Oh yeah, no, I've gone to Charlotte St. Martin of the Broadway League, and I said, I'm taking your wig and I'm taking your shoes, and I am now the president or whatever you are of this league.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I think despite its problems, Heathers,
Yeah.
we're back to Heathers now. I'm back to Heathers now, which is in, like the writing and the direction and the conception and the choreography. I love it ultimately because of its willingness to deal with some of these really dark themes
Absolutely.
with humor.
Yeah.
And I really reject the idea that we should stay away from topics like
like everything.
unaliving and date rape, things that are
They exist.
they exist.
They have to be. They have to be dealt with because they exist.
Yes.
And it's not about trying to make excuses. It's just simply dealing with it, making it part of the conversation. Because otherwise, how are you gonna take it on in the real world?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be addressed. I think my issue with the musical and why some people have found it problematic is the fact that it doesn't go as hard as I want it to, because the movie does go incredibly hard.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is they both, I mean, the ending is similar, obviously. They have to go towards this conclusion where JD plans to blow up the school, then ends up blowing himself up. And the musical aims for a kind of big Broadway hopefulness.
Yeah.
To get the audience going out on a high. And the movie ends on a very quiet note.
Yeah.
It's the first brick to building like a hopeful and even playing field for Westerberg, with Veronica grabbing the scrunchie and going to Martha Dunstock and saying, "Let's go have a movie night." And
She also lights a cigarette off of the fire
I know.
of the blown up football field, which
Yeah.
iconic.
Well, it's also weirdly kind of like it calls back to that lunchtime poll, because that's how Veronica and JD first meet in the movie, is they're doing the lunchtime poll. And she keeps seeing Christian Slater in the corner in his like black jacket and looking smoldering, and she finally just walks over to him and does the lunchtime poll, and he says, "Yeah, I guess if it were the last day on Earth, I would go out into the lake with some tequila, my sack, some vodka, and just light up and wait for it to end." And which like she loves. She's like, "Oh my god, you're so bad." But like we look at that and we go like, "Oh my god, this fucking poser." And,
He's like, oh, sorry.
no, you're saying, what is he?
My lunchtime poll is: do you think if JD existed now as a Gen Z kid, he would be into anime?
Probably.
Like, he's so close to having incel vibes, but still manages to be like sexy and alluring. That's a tough.
Well, I think that's the thing.
It's the trench coat,
Well,
really.
okay, well, so this is another thing that kind of you can ask with something like Heathers, both the movie and the musical. If JD didn't look like JD, would he be sexy?
Right.
Would his actions be sexy?
Like a black trench coat is.
Yeah. If Heather
It hits the middle of a Venn diagram of two very different types of people.
If Heather Chandler didn't look like Heather Chandler, would she have any kind of power? She's got money, but like what does that mean?
It's a big part of it.
Yeah. And it's not something people like to talk about, but it is something that's very real.
Yeah.
And it came actually under scrutiny when the West End production happened, because Carrie Hope Fletcher,
Yes.
who is extraordinarily talented and has just been working nonstop in the West End for years. When she got cast as Veronica, there were a lot of Americans who loved the show who had backlash against her casting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's stupid, because their belief was the same belief of Dan Waters and the director saying like Winona Ryder's not pretty enough to be Veronica. They're like, she's not pretty enough to be Veronica.
Yeah, but in the musical, she goes through that whole Cinderella transformation.
Yeah. I'm also of the mind frame of, with the musical.
Which doesn't mean I agree that Carrie's not. I mean, she's beautiful.
She's a beautiful woman. She's got a head of hair that I would murder a mailbox for. Not a person. I'm not there yet. But I would destroy some federal property for her.
Nice.
For her hair.
Yeah.
But
it's a crime.
it is. Listen, it is a crime.
Yeah.
I'm a bad boy.
You're a bad boy.
I'm a,
You don't have a black trench coat, but
no, I don't look like JD, and I never will, and that's okay.
I
also-
would love to see you as JD with a black trench coat trailing on the ground.
I would just be like flipping it out. Hey, everybody, freeze your brain. That's a hard thing, but
It is.
with Carrie, she doesn't look like Winona Ryder. She doesn't look like a Heather. And I think what some people stupidly were trying to, not stupid, they were trying to make this case and doing it stupidly, was the point of Veronica is that even though she starts an outsider, the whole reason she's able to become a Heather is because she looks like a Heather. Oh, like when she's all glammed up. And I'm like, first of all, theater is suspense of disbelief.
Yeah.
And ultimately with a show like Heather's, I'm like, just talent wins at the end of the day. I don't care if you're 2 pounds, if you're 100 pounds. I don't fucking care. It's a mentality that is important for the movie because of the time frame the movie came out. We are now in a place, in my opinion, with theater where it should be about the talent.
Yeah.
And I think that you can also make a case for Veronica becoming part of the Heathers, not just because she looks like a Heather.
She's the brain.
Yeah.
She's the intellect.
And they make it very clear in the musical that the reason she ends up joining is because she can forge things for the Heathers.
She offers them something that they can't do for themselves. Yeah.
Yes. She asks for a coup, which I'm not sure if that's the right... what she say, like, I request a coup. What? No. What coup? No. What'd she say? Speaking of the B.
September 1st,
No.
1980. Bitch. Should. This is an excellent forgery. Sawyer.
I crave a boon.
Boon! There we go. I crave a boon.
But isn't that the name? That's like the name that she...
A boon? I think she means, like, I want a deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just, if you let me sit with you at lunch once, like, or a couple times, I know people will leave me alone, and in exchange, I can forge doctor's notes. I can forge.
Boon is a word?
I think so.
I thought she was pointing to the forgery that she made and the name that she wrote down, which was a pun. Maybe I made all this up. I thought that
You might have.
boon.
I crave a boon.
What's a boon?
What boon?
A thing that is helpful or beneficial. A favor or request. Mm-hmm. You're right. I'm wrong.
Well, first of all, that was context clues. I didn't actually know that for sure. I heard the sentence. I was like, I'm guessing that's what that means.
Yeah. No. Smart.
We learn words every day.
Smart.
Sometimes I say a smart thing, but with that forgery, how do we even get here? We're talking about
I don't know.
Why Veronica would be part of the Heathers. There's a difference between why Veronica's part of the Heathers in the musical as opposed to why she's part of the Heathers in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why when it comes to casting, I don't care who was who in the movie. The musical is its own beast, and all my issues with the musical are musical related, not casting, not Carrie, not Barrett, not nothing. Let's take one more break.
Billy, I beg to differ with you. How do you mean? You're the top. Yeah. You're an arrow color. You're the top. You're a Coolidge dollar. You're the nimble tread of the feet of Fred Astaire.
So when you think about the movie, we talked about this sort of already. Then it's discussing things that at that time no high school movie ever did, and even now only like the random indie movie covers it. Mean Girls does something similar, but in a much more mainstream way. They never get to that dark element that Heathers gets to. But I also think part of that is the passage of time, because with Heathers, the idea of a school bombing or a school shooting was so ridiculous. None of that ever happened.
Damn.
I know. And then Columbine happened and everything changed.
Right.
And continues to change.
I mean, now it's just very
I know.
normal.
Well, and actually, so you asked like if JD were a creation today, you know that there was a Heathers remake TV show?
I do vaguely recall. I did not watch it.
I watched the pilot, and I don't know if they ever released the rest of it. They might have. I think they like dumped it all. One of the things was they kept on pushing back its premiere because
there's always a
school
shooting.
Yeah. Exactly. And rather than kind of put it back in the can, like that should have been the moment that everyone involved went, "Oh, I don't think you can make Heathers today because of the world now."
Yes, I agree. I was going to say this earlier. I think it's important that Heathers is like a period piece,
Yeah.
and that it is set in the 80s. And another facet of that is how they deal with eating disorders.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, if the Heathers existed in Gen Z culture nowadays, any of the Heathers would probably say like, "Stop puking, girl. Like, we can get help. Here's a hotline you can call."
Yeah.
Whereas in the 80s, it was like, good for you. If you can like keep up with an eating disorder, like, yeah, game on, girl.
Yeah. Well, also, first of all, there's internet culture now that exists that doesn't exist with Heathers in '89. YouTube tutorials, Instagram, Twitter, all the things, or X. No, I'm gonna dead name Twitter. It's the one thing I'm willing to dead name.
Yes, samesies.
Yeah. But also because there's the internet, the world is so much larger than it feels when you're in high school. Mm-hmm. So like, even though Heather Chandler talks about like, I'm going to basically cancel you, Veronica, at school. Oh, sorry, that's the other thing I wanted to say. In the musical, it makes no sense to me that Heather Chandler's like, on Monday, your history, because, transfer anywhere. I'm like, everyone at school is at this party.
Yeah.
They all saw it happen. She's canceled, right? Whereas in the movie, because it's at the college party, nobody knows about it yet. And so she's going to tell everyone. And, like, you could say, oh, what's the big deal? She threw up at a party. It's like, yeah, it's high school. Any small thing you do, especially as you said, if you're a woman and you get to a high place, any little bump is enough to tear you down.
Highest form of entertainment.
Absolutely. But in the remake, they include the internet, so there's that kind of bullying, but also, in a weird way, it feels like if you watch the remake, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like a little MAGA-y, in the sense that the Heather Duke is a girl of color. Heather McNamara is a sort of non-binary queer boy individual.
Oh, yes.
I don't think they're non-binary. I think they are a gay boy that they just sort of give non-binary traits to.
Like a feminine.
Yeah, like very Chris Colfer in Glee, where it's like you identify as male, but like you're going to do a lot of feminine traits for the sake of the camp. And then Heather Chandler is a body positive, like internet troll diva. Okay. So like the opening sequence, and Veronica is a skinny, white, beautiful girl who's part of the group. And in the opening sequence, Heather Chandler makes one of the school jocks take off his jersey because it has a Native American symbol on it, because of like that's their school emblem. And because she's an quote unquote influencer, videotapes him and is like, if you don't do this, I'm going to put it on my Instagram and cancel you. And what the writers of the remake were trying to do was show how school bullying has evolved. And like, except now you've made it like the quote unquote like progressive left with this very diverse group of Heathers, and then like the heteronormative white people taking them down. Like, so that's very MAGA-y.
Yeah.
Which is
like, why does it have to have any association with Heathers at all? Like, it can be its own new thing.
It should, but I think it's the brand recognition. They want the IP to get people to sign off on it. And the thing about Heather's the original is that it is a rejection of the norm, of the status quo, of like, we've been told that the structure we're in is for our own good. It gives us balance, it gives us purpose, it gives us routine, but so many people are hurt by it, and it's not a fair system, and people are abusing their power. Why can't we burn it down to the ground and start anew? And it doesn't give you any answers in that regard, other than just like, you can't overhaul a whole system, you can only start piecemeal. But that instead, I think people then like when they try to like repurpose Heathers, they go into like the catchy dialogue and the very odd imagery and the sort of elevatedness of it all, without going to the root of it, which is that the movie originally was written from a place of pain and anger from the writers seeing these American dream teen movies and being like, that's not my reality.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like the legacy of Heathers keeps getting tarnished, because then people talk about like, oh, it's about acceptance. I'm like, it's not about acceptance.
You're trying to make it too good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought so. One of my favorite songs from the show, "Meant to Be Yours," which I thought Ryan McCartan absolutely crushed. To me, it does such a good job, because musically, I think it manages to capture this very John Hughesian sound. Like, it sort of brings me to the same place as a John Hughes movie, or like the era where it's like, I don't know, there's this pulse to it that feels very like, we're taking off, like we're teenagers, we have all this like wild energy, and it's about something extremely morbid. He's like talking about his obsession with Veronica, how he's literally about to blow up the school and kill everyone inside. And I don't think every song in the score manages to do that, but that song, it does. I don't know. It's like stylistically so perfect to me.
Yeah. Well, it's very dramatically compelling.
Yeah.
Because it's like JD is a character, and they do adhere to his origins in the musical from the movie, which is, it's just him and his dad. His mother is no longer with us. She in a very odd way, very like a very specific way, which is that JD's father owns a construction company, a very successful construction company. But what his father mostly does is he, tears stuff down. So he has access to a lot of explosives. And one of the towns that they lived in, his mother chose to go into one of the buildings that his father was blowing up and stay there when it happened. And like he talks about it in the movie, it's like the last time I saw my mom, she was waving from a 3rd-story window.
It's crazy.
Yeah, his mom had issues that needed to be addressed and weren't addressed. And rather than talk about it, the father's like, we don't talk about that ever. And they play a game where they call each other father and son to each other. Like JD calls
The roles are reversed.
Exactly. I also love the second time that the dad shows up in the movie and Winona Ryder says, "Great, the beaver's home."
What does that even mean?
I mean, just like, I think it's, in my interpretation was always that it was either her way of calling him a pussy or or like leave it to Beaver, because when they call him son, like, oh, great, Beaver's home. There are a lot of lines in the movie that are iconic that I still don't totally know what they mean.
Yeah.
I don't know why Heather Chandler says corn nuts when she's about to croak, other than like,
I think it's just an exclamation. It's like nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts. Rats.
Nuts. Yeah, but this time
Corn
it's
nuts.
corn nuts because
They sort of created their own brand with all this. They like fuck me gently with a chainsaw. They were making their own lingo that was specific to the time and to Heather's.
What's your damage is
Yes.
is now a line because of that movie.
Yes.
What's your damage? Brett says you're being a real coos.
Yeah.
I also-
Like they were influencers before there were influencers.
Absolutely. Swatch dogs and Diet Coke heads. Did you have a brain tumor for breakfast?
The best.
So good.
Yeah.
And
That's
also
in the musical.
Yes, and also, why are you pulling on my dick? Yeah. But also, I mean, so something you were saying as well, and I want to tie this back to JD, how like we're all monsters, we're all selfish, we're all whatever, and I talked about this I think with the Prom as well, and maybe even Downstate. But yeah, we're all ultimately selfish people, and we're just constantly trying to go against those impulses to show some kind of kindness. And the people who tend to like be the most content are the people who are pretty awful, because they're just sort of like, I don't desire that struggle with myself.
Yeah, they're not fighting it.
Yeah. And, who's to say how happy they actually are, but the lines on their face are not as deep as the lines of others. I will say that. And they choose to make their conscience less clear about that. But, when Heather Duke, who is the one who has the eating disorder at the beginning of the movie, and then rises through the ranks once Heather Chandler passes, in another kind of movie, Heather Duke's arc would be a lot more victorious. She was suffering through this toxic friendship she had with Heather Chandler, and when that was gone, you see for the first half of the movie anyway, she blossoms. She's able to eat again.
It was Shannon Doherty, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love the line like,
Such good casting.
wow, watch it, Heather. You might have actually be digesting food there. Yeah, where's your urge to purge? Fuck it. It's so good. And like she's happier. She's conversing. She's no longer afraid to speak out anymore. And ultimately, she takes that confidence and it gets corrupted. The musical starts that a lot sooner and proves that actually she's as manipulative as Heather Chandler. She just was waiting in wait. Waiting in wait. That's not a thing. Lying in wait. But
In the wings.
in the wings, yes. She says to Veronica in the movie, "Why are you pulling on my dick? Do you think that if Betty Finn's fairy godmother made her cool, she would be Betty Finn, and be nice and kind?" She wouldn't. And I think that mentality is something that JD has always felt. It's like Veronica is trying to believe that people can be good, whereas JD's like, no. Anyone given an opportunity to have power, it's going to corrupt them no matter who.
We'll take advantage of other people.
Yeah, and he says the only place that Heathers and Martha Dunstocks can get along is in heaven. And he's like, and also saying, by killing everyone in the school, we are sending a message to society. This is what you are turning us into. We're putting ourselves out of our misery.
The school is society.
The school was society. Kind of poetic, right? And Veronica chooses to fight that, which I think you can decide for yourself if that's naive, if that's a losing battle, or if that's hopeful. The musical aims for hopeful.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair. Again, it's theater is a commercial art form, so you want people to come back and see it. You don't want people, audiences going out going, God damn it, we're all just awful. I'm going to go home and eat some chocolate and never see a show again.
Right.
I think what I dislike in the ending of the show, I do like the reprise of 17, which also I think is a good song.
I do too.
It's a very nice number. And I think it's done very well in the reprise. What I don't like is when the ghosts of Heather Chandler and Curtin Ram show up to like oversee it all. To like, look at our friends, our schoolmates all getting along. I'm like, the real trio didn't want that.
No.
And they're not in heaven like looking down. This is like Veronica's imagination of them talking to them
Right.
from beyond. So I always thought that was a little pat. The only thing that would make it worse, I don't know if they do this in other productions, like is if JD showed up in the finale in heaven with them.
As an angel.
He's like, we did it, guys. I'm like, no, you all were actively destroying this ecosystem.
Yeah.
Veronica's doing it. She's the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Veronica of the musical?
I think that she has a, it's, I really respect the Veronica of the film because I love a sort of a twisted, dark character. But I do think she goes through so much in the musical that is compelling to a musical audience, where she has to locate her moral compass and overcome all of the nasty influences and decide to be a bigger person. And, she goes through, I'm so over the Cinderella transformations, but like, she goes through that and decides it's not worth it. And she tells the truth to Martha Dunstock. She humbles herself and saves everyone in the school effectively. So I feel like it makes sense because it's, we really do see her go on a wild journey and come out the other side. How do I feel? I don't know. How do you? What do you?
Well, I was asking you because as woman,
As a woman?
No, not as a woman, as woman. You are woman. And
Hear me roar.
Yes, and I like hearing woman speak of woman because I love woman, but I only can go through how I.
You are not woman.
I am not. I can only go through how I experience them.
Sure.
But I mean, I think Veronica, because the movie character is so rich and meaty, not necessarily like exciting. I would say her arc is not as tortured as the Veronica of the musical.
Right.
She has a conscience in the movie, and she's like the first half of the movie is Veronica definitely like grappling with like where are my morals actually going to stand? Where do I draw the line? I'm not sure yet. And the musical, she's a lot kinder. So you see her get traumatized easier. You see it affecting her a little deeper than it happens
From the
in movie.
get-go. Like in Beautiful, she's like defending Martha to the jocks. She's standing up to them.
Yeah, and she has more agency, I would argue. And I think that is an interesting change. I think I would like it more again if I thought that the musical went harder with its edges. I remember writing in my review for the cast album, because sometimes I'm asked to write reviews for cast albums, but I said, for hardcore Heathers fans, they're going to be disappointed that the chewing tobacco has been replaced by bubblegum,
Right.
which is how I kind of describe that score. There are times when it does synchronize really well, and other times where I'm like, eh. And on paper, I can't deny where songs happen for the most part, except for Blue/You're Welcome, which we've already discussed. They also added that song that we were listening to before we recorded, the I Say No.
Yeah.
In Act 2. Yeah.
Don't need it.
Don't need it, and it's so long.
Yeah.
So, Chelsea, for my uncultured folks who don't know your work, let me set the scene for them for you. As I've said, Chelsea Williams has a very beautiful, very high voice. Or rather say, your voice can go high. There were... I will
It's
never...
gone high in the past.
I will never forget playing you Rainbow High for the first time in college. You famously had never heard of Ida before. And I'm like, oh, girl.
I was a late bloomer.
You were, but I reveled in that. I like to think I was never the person, if you said like, oh, I don't know that, I was like, you've never heard of it? More as I was like excited, like...
You just press play.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, yay, I get to show you. It was always that. It was very Abby on Broad City of, oh, you're so lucky. Like, you get to experience it for the first time.
Yeah.
And I remember playing you Rainbow High, and we get to the modulation, and Patty hits the big note, and you go, what note is that? I go, that's an E. And you go, oh, okay. And I was like, was like,
It was a different time.
It was a different time. But like, you know, you
less trauma to the chords.
Yes. I don't know. You sang freedom like a boss. But this is to say, as Chelsea's going to discuss the plights of the woman of modern day musical theater, just know, like, this is a girl, like Veronica Sawyer herself, who absolutely can fit into this hierarchy. But she's also calling out the hierarchy itself, which is real bravery and grit. You are basically a man who says that he loves women.
Which is all I can really hope to be. The most powerful position, a man.
I mean, of the two people in this room, you definitely have the most power.
Why are you pulling on my dick?
Because it's so good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Wicked is started the wave of this like vocal athleticism on Broadway that is, dare I say, has ruined musical theater, or has at least turned it away from storytelling and more into like a concert style of we're singing as loud and as high as we possibly can in a way that it's becoming more and more normal to have a standby go on once or twice a week because, dear God, who can actually sustain 8 shows of singing? I mean, actually, that doesn't even happen in Wicked, right? Standbys go on, but it's not a scheduled performance.
No, it's never scheduled, but they go on a lot.
It's crazy to me. Going on mid-show is like very normal. Going on after The Wizard and I is like very normal for Elphabas and Wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing Heathers for the first time, and like it was so exciting to me to hear someone sing like that. But it was so exciting because I was like, this is so challenging. It's so loud, it's so high, and it's making me almost like cringe in my seat where I'm worried for this person throughout the show. I was worried for Barrett, who I had a lot of admiration for at the time. And it felt thrilling to me then to hear someone sing so much so high where I was like, oh, is she going to be able to do it? But now, as an older, wiser, more experienced performer, when I see shows like that and I'm worried about them hitting the notes, it's like not a comfortable experience. No. I'm totally taken out of the story. I can't actually enjoy the plot. I can't transcend the world that I'm living in. I'm just like, oh my God, are you going to be able to work after this? And I'm like, I don't want to go in for shows like that. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to put myself through that. It's not worth it.
It's not. I have conflict with myself with this regard because I agree. I get very angry now when I watch shows and I think you have written this so terribly for your leading person, man or woman. And I actually think both Heathers and Legally Blonde are the same. Where like Elle Woods is just as monstrous of a role as Veronica, just in terms of like how it's paced. Even if like she's not belting all the time, like she never leaves the stage.
Yep.
Which shows you how much worse it's gotten since Wicked, because Wicked was very much a turning point. And I remember at the time Wicked came out, a lot of critics were like, Jesus Christ, this is where we're heading, American Idol style singing. Yeah. And I look at Wicked now compared to Heathers or Mean Girls or Legally Blonde, and I'm like, oh, the Alphaba's actually paced better than those roles. It's still a beast, and people go, oh.
It's paced well.
But like it's still very difficult. And the proof is, a lot of the Alphabas have had to have vocal therapy afterwards or have called out. But like, Alphaba doesn't open the show immediately. She's not on stage all the time. She has Wizard and I, and then she doesn't have like a big sing again until Defying Gravity. But she does have,
No Good Deed. Like, there's a lot in that too.
Yeah, 3 really big tent poles.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot. And it's not that it is well structured so much as we have made it even harder now that we look on Wicked compared to those shows and we go, well, that's better. But like if we didn't have Heathers or Legally Blonde or any of those shows, we would rightfully look at Wicked and go, that's insane that we're asking someone to do that 8 times a week.
Heathers is not paced well.
It's not sustainable.
I mean, that opening number is, first of all, like 7 minutes long.
Yep. And
it ends in Veronica belting and riffing up a storm, which probably was Barrett's like improvisational choices that just kind of stuck with the show. And it is impressive, but it's like you have to maintain that bar throughout the rest of the show.
Yeah.
You know, you've already gone there.
Yeah, I wish that there were other major productions of that show recorded for posterity that could give alternate vocals on that kind of stuff. Because the same thing is true with Book of Mormon. Andrew Rannells has talked about this a lot when he played Elder Price in the workshops and then brought it to Broadway. He made them raise all the keys for him, not just because he could do it, but he was so nervous that he would get replaced at one point that he was like, I want to put these in keys that are so high that they can't replace me.
Wow.
Which is, I mean, that was him being a shark, being like, I'm going to hold on to this role for as long as it takes.
That's a reflection of the industry, ultimately.
Yeah, but and they kept it, and then it wasn't until Gavin Creel, I think, did the tour, and they lowered a couple of keys. And I mean, Gavin's voice also goes insanely high, but like, it wasn't fitting as well.
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary. And like, I believe it's just as powerful a step down as it is in the original key. Like, it doesn't need to be that high. And it shouldn't be about us applauding the agility of the singer. It should be us applauding the craft of the artist.
I agree. I mean, you think about, you can speak to this more than I can, but like performers like Ethel Merman who are having songs written for them and are... When I think of her, I think of an extremely powerful storyteller, like gusto, volume, like she's got it all. Was she a soprano? No. Was she belting really high? No. But like, it was all, you were struck by her velocity. I mean, it's just incredible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and even some major power songs from the 60s, 70s, and 80s that we think of as like these big, highfalutin numbers. Like, okay, I'll put it this way. Don't Rain on My Parade from Funny Girl. When you take away the flourishes that Barbara added, as written, it is a big number. It doesn't go beyond a C. Like, the C is the money note. Julie Stein was like, we're not writing past that. We don't need to. But then, of course, Barbara's a freak of nature, and she was like, I'll do an E. Why not? Who cares? So what? And then everybody else is like, well, now I got to destroy myself. But, like, where you find where the voice has the most power, that's where you cater to. And then, you know, as you get more comfortable and you start having more fun with it, whatever. But, like, that danger of Barrett's voice is partly what made the score so thrilling to me the first time I heard it, which is why I sometimes question how much do I actually like the score and how much of it was that thrill ride of, is she going to make it?
Yeah.
And, like, that's not a discredit to Barrett, the artist. She's in control of her instrument. But that score destroys voices. It destroyed hers for a little bit, and she's been open about it.
As far as contemporary musical theater goes, it's a real travesty to me that it seems like a lot of writers nowadays don't have the keen sense that writers of like Golden Age or like Sondheim, for example, had of what it means to be a vocalist and how to write for singers. And Heather's definitely fell into this trap a little bit where some of the songs are super catchy. They are bops. Like, we love it. But they are not all written with a singer's success in mind in a way that if you listen to any Sondheim show, he's very much thinking about the vowels, the placement. And I think a lot of like jukebox musicals, you know, of course fall into this trap because they were written as pop songs and we're not considering singing these songs 8 times a week and how you can actually carry that out. And I just hope that for the future of musical theater, more writers will think about the realities of singing these songs 8 times a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're not writing songs that are actable. We're writing songs that are meant to show ourselves off. And that's fine it's the Lippa Wild Party in a cabaret setting on a cast album. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But, like, I've said this about Burrs in Wild Party. Let Me Drown is a bop.
A bop.
And that number is his mental breakdown before he decides he's going to try and kill Queenie and Black. Compare that actually to Meant to Be Yours, which is also in its weird way a bop, but it's a disorienting bop. It changes meter, it changes tempo, it changes melody lines all the time to show off his sort of erratic mental state. And it has a bit of danger to it.
I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you.
Yeah. And,
so good.
I was meant to be yours. Like,
I love it.
Yeah, it's actually very smart. And it does build to that height vocally. So I think that is a case of Heather's. And of course it's for the band. That's a case of Heather's where I do think they think of the actor.
Open the door,
Please,
please.
Veronica, open the door. But so with something like Let Me Drown, where it is just about the actor showing off vocally and tapping into something rageful, but as an audience, you're not getting uncomfortable from the story. You're just like, fuck yeah, work. And I think too many writers, creative teams in general, and producers even, are so thrilled with the immediate cheers of an audience for that bop, for that showstopper. They don't think
It's a little cheap.
Yeah, it's very immediate and cheap.
Yeah.
And to prove my point even further, for every show in the last 3 years that has gotten a huge ovation or standing ovation that then closed, are we talking about them today?
I can't say that I talk about Paradise Square very often.
I talk about it too much for a show I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, you do.
But it's because it's my go-to. It's my go-to.
It's like it anchors your spectrum of like what you like.
It has started to replace Finding Neverland as my go-to punching bag. And to be fair to Paradise Square, I do think the writers had good intentions, whereas Finding Neverland was just a paycheck for everybody.
I do like that one song.
Finding Neverland? Or Paradise?
All that matters now.
Oh, is that the song she sings before she dies of cancer?
I don't know. I didn't like the show. I saw the show, but
The Glitter Tornado was nice, but also...
it's an indulgent
Yeah.
song.
I also give Paradise Square the credit of there are no children in that show. And I don't like children. Especially on stage. I just don't like them.
I just don't like them.
Which is so weird because I love Matilda.
Okay.
And I love the TV movie of Annie.
But Matilda's dark.
She is dark, and she's smart, and she's fun, and she's cool. But,
She's cool.
Yeah, she's not like, I'm adorable. She's like, I read.
You're like, I like the kids who are magical geniuses.
Yeah.
But not the regular ones.
Matilda saw Passion. She saw Fosca and Passion, and she saw that song, I Read. And she's like, yeah, I do read.
I read and I move shit with my mind.
Yeah, because that is feminism. Wait, is that not feminism?
I must not be a real feminist because I'm trying to move your Paddington the Bear right now.
You heard it here, guys. Chelsea Williams hates women.
I hate women.
It's
It's because I hate myself.
that movie, Women Talking. Chelsea saw that. She went, why? Why are they talking? They shouldn't be talking.
Somebody shut them up.
Yeah. I love that movie, The Artist, because nobody talks, especially the women. Because it's a silent movie. Get it? No. No, but with Heathers, because we were talking about... I know. Guys, I have a cold, so I've been just like blowing my nose constantly, and I've a wad of toilet paper on the table. No apologies. Never apologize.
Pray for Matt.
Everyone please pray for me. My brain is dying. With Heathers, with Meant to Be Yours and all that, I'm glad we got back to that because you had talked about your love for it and we didn't really
I'm
dissect
going to listen
it.
to it as soon as I leave this place.
It's a good number.
Yeah.
Again, my issue with Heathers as a musical is that they do a lot to make it work as a musical, but I don't think they go dark enough to justify the themes and the content of the plot, which is why people find it problematic, because when you make it lighter, it's what makes people go, or not even lighter. When you go towards empathy rather than just flat out criticism, it leaves an open discussion for audiences, and there are some people who don't like that. For example, my favorite musical leads with empathy for all the characters, even when they're doing terrible things, which has led it to have this constant argument about where does the musical stand.
What's your favorite musical?
Finding Neverland.
Oh.
Yeah, it's and the argument is, where do we stand on glitter? Is it beautiful or does it pollute the planet? And I'm like, it's both. It's a wonderful metaphor for dying of cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one thing I didn't like about My Sister's Keeper. There was no glitter in it.
I can't say that I saw that one.
Neither did I. I saw the trailer.
You're like, but I know it's about
cancer. Yeah. Walk to Remember. I know there's cancer in that.
Definitely saw that many times. Oof. Nicholas Sparks.
Yeah.
Sparks.
Nicholas Sharts. Nicholas Sparks doesn't like gay people, everybody. Remember that.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't say I'm surprised.
No, he doesn't. Yeah.
He loves a weak woman.
Sure do. And in fact, Allie in The Notebook is so strong, and he punishes her by getting dementia.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you thought that you could be an independent woman?
Yeah.
Surprise, bitch, you're going to get dementia.
Yeah, only for so long.
Yeah.
You will pay a price.
Absolutely. Oh, Mandy Moore.
Become the weakest of the weak.
Yes, Mandy Moore. You think that you can love Jesus and have a man? No, you're going to get leukemia.
So I lay my down. The weakest upper register known to man. I'll say it. Mandy Moore.
I wanna be with you.
Oh, wow.
I love it when she's singing in the Princess Diaries on that beach and you can barely hear.
You can barely
Scooby-Dooby.
Oh my God, it's yeah, wow. How far we've come.
How far we've come. You know what Mandy Moore could never be able to sing? The score of Heathers.
Anything on Broadway, yeah.
And anything from Heathers.
You've heard her sing Suddenly Seymour?
I was there when she did it.
What?
Yeah. I'm the one who suggested it in the audience. No.
Oh my goodness. I'll never forget that big millennial bun she had.
Oh, so you know what actually we didn't really talk about much is Heather McNamara, and I want to talk about her and Martha Dunstock as well of the musicals. Two characters who genuinely are suffering and do not get the empathy that they should get. That is reserved for the people who did not actually unalive themselves, but because of their social status and because of how it happened, are given this kind of grace. Heather McNamara, in a moment of vulnerability in Act 2 after Shine a Light. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to be this healing moment. And then Heather McNamara kind of breaks.
Yeah. She's like, okay, I'll bite.
Yeah.
I want to unalive myself.
Yeah. Well, she does. I don't think she starts off that way. What she starts off is just like, I don't like my life. I don't like everything that's happening to me. The movie makes her a little whinier.
Oh, I thought she revealed that she has suicidal thoughts. Maybe I'm reading into it too hard.
Maybe she does. I don't know. There's for everything that I criticize about the show, there's a lot of stuff I've forgotten, and I literally have been like putting it in my brain all week. But yeah, with Lifeboat, it's a song where she basically says that life. Because I think Murphy and O'Keefe said that they read something of how like high school is basically like surviving on the tiniest lifeboat, and it's always just it's kill or be killed, and it's something that actually gets to her, whereas it doesn't get to Heather Chandler. It doesn't get to Heather Duke anymore, but it does affect Heather McNamara. And rather than everyone lending a hand of I see you, I feel you, I hear you, Joanna, instead she gets ripped apart, and it's the same thing in the movie. Rather when hearing that their friend is suffering, Heather Duke's like, great, we're gonna crucify her for this, and Veronica does nothing. And Heather is the first one in the story to truly make the choice to unalive herself, and ultimately Veronica steps in and helps her. But it shows just because Heather Chandler and Rem and Kurt didn't actually unalive themselves doesn't mean that this isn't a thought that teenagers have. That this isn't a conclusion that some people at this age go to. Because I talked about this, I think, in Downstate. I maybe didn't talk about it with Dear Evan Hansen. When I was writing my movie about parents dealing with the grief and the guilt of a child that... It's a good screenplay.
It's a good screenplay.
Thank you, baby. Guys, Chelsea has been good to do readings for anything I've ever written. The screenplay, the play.
Reading roles much older than I am now, but
yeah. No, well, you read
roles I can't wait to grow into.
It's true. You did read for Aaron at the.
Oh yeah.
That was too much. I can't have you ever do that role again. No, it was too good.
Talk to me when you have contracts.
I know. I'm going to say this about Chelsea Williams, and then we're going to move on. The first time we did the reading of my play in January, Chelsea read the role of Erin in a scene that was very impactful, and Chelsea, we were at break because her role doesn't show up till Act 2, and we get to the scene, and the moment Chelsea opens her mouth, she's nailing it so hard that I'm having.
You went under the table.
I had PTSD. I sat on the table the entire time.
You literally got under the table.
I did. It was. You were that good.
You wrote it extremely close to.
Yeah, that first time was the closest it was to.
Do
the
they
real
know what
situation.
you're talking about?
They know that something happened,
Yeah.
and they know that I wrote a play.
It's
about
very
it.
personal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all they know. We haven't talked about anything.
Very
else.
brave. He's very brave.
I'm a brave man. I'm a big brave boy. But that the idea of when someone commits suicide, people often talk about it as like a choice that they make. And in a way it is, but when I was writing that screenplay, I was talking to someone who had dealt with that before. And while I do suffer from depression myself, I'm very fortunate that I haven't gone to that darkest spot. But what they said was, it's not a choice, it's a conclusion. Like it's something that makes sense to them, and it's something that isn't really discussed in Dear Evan Hansen with Connor Murphy, who commits suicide, and
It might not feel like a choice
Yeah.
in the moment that something like that happens.
And a lot of people, when they get to that moment, their spirits actually tend to rise because they see that the end is near, and it feels like they have an answer now, that this is where it has always been meant to lead to. Like, the pain will be over soon.
Yeah.
Which is why in Dear Evan Hansen, when they're like, if you read Connor's letters, which are all fake, by the way, Evan wrote all of them with Jared, they're like, he was getting better. Why would he unalive himself? And it's like, well, actually, I would love if someone came in and said, like, actually, statistically speaking, many people, when they get to that point of their lives, they do have an uptick in their emotions because they feel like the pain will go away very soon. And people
should probably put a trigger warning on this episode.
I've been putting a trigger warning on everything.
Okay.
But that is sort of the thing with Heather's, that it doesn't go to that spot, but it does sort of continually talk about how, despite all the conversations people are having and the empathy that they claim to lean towards, when the actual shit hits the fan and people who really are suffering are getting there to that spot of vulnerability and needing of help, no one's doing it. Instead, it's like, oh, a moment of weakness. Fantastic. I can point and laugh. When Martha Dunstock does it, Heather Duke says, because first of all, Heather McNamara does not succeed. Veronica steps in. Martha Dunstock sings Kindergarten Boyfriend, which I think has no rhymes in it. That is what they said, was like she's at a point mentally where she can't think in rhymes. She can only think in free-flowing thoughts, which I'm not mad about. But she makes the choice to go in front of traffic, and
Oh, I thought she jumped off a bridge.
oh, maybe she jumps off the bridge. She goes into traffic in the movie. That much I remember. She tapes a note
I think
to
in the
herself.
musical she jumps off a bridge and is not successful.
Yes, she's not successful in either.
Breaks some bones.
She does. She's not successful in either medium. And Heather Duke's the one who says, she did this, and what Heather Duke says is she's just trying to follow the cool kids, and she's failing miserably because that's how it goes. And it's such a callous, evil thing to say.
Yeah.
And in the movie, it's not nearly as callous. It doesn't feel as callous because the movie has framed it at that point as like everyone has been viewing suicide now as a trend, as a cool thing to do. And so, and they don't frame Martha's plight as something to mock at. It is very much the bleeding heart of the movie, but it makes sense that that's where Heather Duke's head's going at, because she's in this bubble of toxicity where that's what people are thinking of. The musical, because we have that moment of introspection with Martha, who has been nothing but kind the entire time and just keeps getting stomped on.
Yeah.
And then even in her most vulnerable moment continues to get stomped on. It really cuts even deeper and meaner. Yeah.
There's just there's nowhere to turn to actually source empathy from the characters. Like even when you do the most bleak act of despair.
Yeah.
People are still like, you're just trying to be like everybody else.
Yeah. Or, think about like anytime somebody posts something on social media of like, I've been going through a thing, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes it's so easy to look at it one of two ways.
Eye roll.
You're looking for attention, or it's like you are hurting and you're looking for someone to recognize.
A cry for help, yeah.
Yeah, recognize your pain. And that's the double-edged sword of social media, and also just like how we all both hate it, love it, rely on it, want to get rid of it. And ultimately the answer that Heather's, the musical and the movie, has is just like, it just comes down to just telling one single person, I see you, I'm here for you. Let's be friends.
Mm-hmm. Let's watch a movie.
I want to watch a movie with you.
Always.
Pop some popcorn, pop some Jiffy Pop. Yep. As Martha Dunstock says, are there any happy endings? Ooh, actually, wait, one more line and then we can start wrapping things up.
Let's do it.
So the ending of the show actually, first of all, again, structurally speaking, I think the show does a really good job of making the final act feel like a runaway train. They're really good at condensing all the drama to make it pulse. Whereas in the movie, it's like a very tense, long burn. And the musical also ends with no new songs. After Meant to Be Yours, it's just reprises.
Yeah.
Dead Girl Walking reprise. 17, Our Love Is God. And when JD ultimately fails in his endeavor, luckily so. And he comes back out with the bomb attached to his chest. First of all, there's a good joke there when he says, "Please stand back now." And she takes a step a little further. That's the kind of like dark humor that I think the musical nails very well.
Yes.
For every time there's a moment where I'm like, guys, you didn't get it. There's a time where I'm like, you got it.
Because we didn't mention that Kevin, what's his name?
Kevin Murphy.
He also wrote for Desperate Housewives.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
No way.
He was the writer of Desperate Housewives.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which had its darkness as well, like similar,
Oh, yeah.
themes, except set in middle-aged women.
yeah. The first season of Desperate Housewives, I maintain, is one of the best
Very
seasons.
good.
Yeah. That pilot is incredible.
Yeah.
It's
Witty banter,
Oh, yeah.
dark themes.
very dark themes.
Yeah.
It's a soap opera
Yeah.
on primetime. But when it goes, because it starts with the intro of 17 of the "Yeah, we're damaged," and he has that bit, and then before he gets to the actual chorus of 17, he goes right into the "I worship you," and then "Our love is God," which is a number that ends Act 1 with Veronica and JD based
Yeah.
off of the line from the movie. And the song "Our Love Is God" just ends with him and Veronica repeating the line over and over to each other. So in the reprise, as he has the bomb strapped to his chest, he just sings it over and over again to Veronica, "Our love is God." And then on the last line, Veronica says, "Say hi to God," blackout boom. And I think that's such a great use of that moment. I remember seeing it in the theater, and I had my arms kind of crossed a little bit. I was like, I'm not super happy with how they've musicalized this. And then she said that line, I'm like, that was good.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, when there's a moment of really good writing, listen, part of me knows it's good writing if I get jealous I didn't think of it. But the best, my
See, we love people admitting that they're,
oh, I can talk about all of my
I know.
faults.
No, this is why I love you.
And Chelsea, if I can't think of them, you're right here to tell me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping your feet on the ground.
Absolutely. My favorite friends are the ones who I'm like, guys, I think I'm pretty cool. And my friend's going, oh, sweetie, no.
Let's unpack this.
Yeah, I'm with you because I need tallying points so I can get into heaven eventually. I'm doing a good deed by staying around you.
So yeah, you like
I
that
know
writing is good if you wish that you had come up with it.
Exactly, but also there's a kind of good writing where I just go, ooh, that's like where it excites me.
Yeah.
For every part of Heather's where I'm like, oh, God damn it. There's a moment like that, like say hi to God, stand back now a little further. I'm like, that's a good moment.
Very quippy. Very good, yeah.
Yeah. And it's easy to toss it off because for a while we only knew of Heather's sort of in theory as a musical. Like it was doing all these readings. They were doing the Joe's Pub concert. So it felt almost like, are they writing this show like the U2 musical theater concerts that we grew up
Right.
with, the RSO, Pascal Paul's, where it's like, we have an idea for a musical. Here's some songs we came up with as a concept. And it's like, but does this actually fit the show?
Mm-hmm.
Cough, when Lily came, cough, cough. And, yep. But so... Triggering. But so, with Heather's, I think it was exciting to watch it and go, oh, like, this song does fit. And then other times be like, this song doesn't fit. You just kept it because it did well at the concert. But I do think they genuinely worked very hard to make it as good a musical as possible. They're musical theater writers. They're not like concert people. But it does have its failings and it does have its pluses.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more plus you have for this show.
When I was reading the script you sent me, which do you have the script for everything?
No, I just I know a lot of people and
Yeah.
I've done a lot of
You
sexual
know what that means.
I've done a lot of sexual favors for
Yeah.
people in the past.
Slut. They made a very conscious effort to keep costs down in terms of like the set and the design of the show so that they could hire so many performers, and the sound was impressive. Like when I went to see it, I was like, damn, this ensemble is working overtime. And they had a lot of musicians in the orchestra as well.
They did. It was a big sound for sure.
It was a big sound.
Yeah. I do like the hero's journey they give for Veronica in the sense of musicals.
Exactly.
I don't know if I like it for that story. I also wish that the musical was a little more sardonic with the adults. I don't think that they're quite sardonic enough. Like Veronica's parents. The thing about Heather's as a movie is it's so easy to forget that these are technically speaking children.
Yeah.
First of all, because they all look older, but also the way they carry themselves. Like, high school is its own ecosystem. And what Veronica says, which is so eloquent, is when she says to JD, I don't really like my friends, which is much more... Actually, I didn't... Yeah. I'll say one last thing after this. I say that and then I'm going to say 10 more things. But she's like, it's people that I work with and our job is being popular and shit. So you start to think of them as adults with jobs. And then in small moments in the movie, just like through small interactions, you're like, oh no, these are children. Like when they're playing croquet in Veronica's backyard and like Chandler's being this awful monster to Duke. And then Veronica's parents come out and they go, oh, Heather, your mom's here. And McNamara's like, okay, everyone come on for a ride. And they like say bye and thank you to Veronica's parents like teenagers do. And they're like, thanks for having us over. Bye. I'm like, yeah, no, they're fucking 16.
Yeah.
These are children.
Yeah. They're getting picked up by their parents.
Yeah. And Veronica, you know, her parents don't know much about her life. They have the same old banter, pate, who's the dark horse for prom, things like that. But they don't know actually anything about her life. And the one time they ever get like real is when Veronica says, like, we just want to be treated like human beings. And her mom says, when kids say that, it's usually because they are being treated like human beings and they don't like it. Mm-hmm. And when Veronica says, well, I guess I picked the wrong time to be a human being, all her mom can say is, well, you'll live. Want some pate? Because she doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's again, it's a generation of people who became parents because that's what you're supposed to do
Right.
without actually asking, should I be a parent?
Mm-hmm.
Am I capable of raising someone who can contribute to society, which is also sometimes why we have the monsters we do, like Heather Chandler.
Yep. Totally.
The last thing I'll say about Veronica and Heather, and this is where the nuance of the movie does still overshadow the musical. In the musical, Veronica's only with the Heathers for about 3 weeks, and then shit hits the fan. So even though she has the guilt of, you know, killing someone, the line, I just killed my best friend and your worst enemy, same difference, makes no sense. In the movie, it's been a few years. They've been friends for years, and they have a certain kind of rapport. So it is true. There's also a moment in the movie that I love. Again, it's the nuance, it's the details. After Heather has died, and her legacy is, you know, I'm Heather Chandler and my suicide note is beautiful, and Veronica's kind of looking at everyone being like, God, everyone's so stupid. There's a moment where she goes and sees Heather Chandler's locker. No one has cleared it out since she's passed. And she goes in it because she, of course she does. She knows
the code, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a strip of photos from like a photo booth with her and Heather that shows you like they weren't just...
They had history.
Yeah, like for all the resentment she had and hatred she had, there was a love there, even if it was toxic. Like they had the good moments too. So you have that conflict in her of like, you know, I did get rid of a monster, but she was my friend, like, and she was a person.
Yeah.
How she expressed it was, you know, her own monstrous way, but she was.
Yeah. The musical is a little more akin to Mean Girls, like the Caddy, Regina George timeline of like, I'm getting in good with these people, so it benefits me. We haven't known each other for that long, and we are best friends as far as on the surface of what our high school community is seeing. Like, we sit together at lunch now, but we haven't actually, you know, swapped secrets. We don't really know anything about each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's that for all the empathy that the musical has and all the cynicism the movie has, I feel like there's weirdly more nuance of humanity in the movie than there is in the show.
Yeah.
Because they do make all the Heathers very comical and cartoonish. They go for a broad approach, I think, to, in their opinion, make all the hard stuff more palatable. And I think it actually, by trying to soften the edges, they actually make it a harder pill to swallow.
Yeah, I think there's something really relatable about the movie version of Veronica, who has known these girls for so long and doesn't really want to be friends with them anymore. I grew up in a small town, and, you know, I had experiences where it's like, we lived down the street from each other and we were best friends in kindergarten. I don't really want to be your friend anymore. Like, we don't really have a lot of in common anymore. And like, I don't really like you anymore, but how do I break up with someone in this small community where like you're going to be mad and like there's nowhere to go?
And that madness percolates. Is that what I'm looking for? Like, where it spreads out, you know? Like, if you're the one who breaks it off, if you're the one who makes the decision, you become the villain. And then, because like, then what are you left with? Who can you turn to?
Right.
Yeah.
You're trapped in a structure, in like a social structure.
Yeah. We have people we've known for years, and we're all interconnected in this way. And over the years, I've had people where I'm like, I'm not sure I really want to be friends with you anymore. You're not really nice to me.
Yeah, but we have like some unspoken allegiance because we have a history together.
Yeah.
And I like how direct they handle that in Heathers, the movie.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, any other pressing issues on your mind with this show, Chelsea? We talked about the music. We talked about Veronica. We talked about Martha and McNamara. We didn't really talk about Duke much, but again, I think she gets the short end of the stick
She
in the
does
musical.
in the musical for sure.
Yeah, she's got a much better defined arc in the movie. First of all, I just want to say, everybody, if you love the musical but haven't seen the movie, see the movie. If you don't love the musical and never saw the movie,
See the movie.
If you don't love the musical and love the movie, see the movie. Yeah.
Just see it. I'm going to watch it again.
I'm going to watch it again, too.
It's so good. But yeah, the musical, it came at a time for me where I was, oh man, it was like exactly my appetite for musical theater at the
Yeah.
time. Even though I knew I had problems and I didn't love every song, it was like when Barrett Wilbur Weed was right at the tip of the wave of
Yeah.
contemporary musical theater. And I just wanted to hear blood when people were singing. So
And it brought it,
I was
baby.
prime audience for it at the time.
I mean, that's also art, you know? How you feel about anything you see depends on where you are in your life when you see it. And that can change for the better or worse later on. It's, that's the tricky thing with nostalgia. When you love something at a young age and you look back on it and people go, well, actually, it's bad because of XYZ. A lot of people don't like to admit that.
Yeah.
And, we don't have to go into the political stuff of that. But to be on the safe side for, like, a movie, let's say. Because I want to keep it safe since we've talked about only safe things on this episode.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, an example being, anytime I talk to a Gen Xer about Annie, and I'm like, well, I really love the TV Annie. Like, well, I think the original 80s one is better. I'm like, you think that because that's the one you grew up with.
Yeah.
I'm like, I grew up with it too. But I think if someone were to look at those two movies back to back without having ever seen them before, with no attachment, that's the person you want to talk to. But no one's willing to acknowledge the faults of something from their past that they loved because they have that chemical.
It means so much to them. Yeah.
Especially when it's a musical, because musical is a chemical reaction, not a mental reaction, not an intellectual one. You respond
Music
to
is manipulative.
Yeah. Which is what, again, we talked about that with Evan Hansen, of like moments in the show where you go, am I being manipulated right now because of the music? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Even if they don't mean to.
Yeah. I feel that way about so many contemporary musicals, specifically jukebox musicals, where people are misconstruing like joy and pleasure for simply song recognition.
Yeah.
Like Moulin Rouge. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like I saw Moulin. I didn't see it on Broadway, but I saw it in Chicago, and I just remember looking around at the audience who was losing their goddamn minds, and I was like, "You are mistaking that you like this. What's really happening in your brain is you just keep being like, I know this song."
Yep.
And we're never getting more than like a verse of any of them. It's like listening to a mashup.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's one big mashup, and you're just being like, I know this song. I know this song. I know this song. Oh my God.
Well, it's like if you get the joke, you're in the club, and everybody wants to be in the club. That's Heather's.
I'm like,
You
but it's
know?
not actually like changing anything for you. It's
No.
not.
Yeah. There's a difference between I like this and I know this.
Exactly.
And I think there are two musicals recently that do this exact same thing, and they. You didn't see New York, did you?
No, sorry.
You're so welcome. So, but I do know you saw Hell's Kitchen, and we don't have to
Yeah.
talk about Hell's Kitchen, but they do a very similar thing with their songs, where they save the most iconic New York-based song for the finale, and they throw everything they have at it.
Yeah.
And I went to a final preview on a Sunday matinee with an audience that was pretty tepid for the entire thing, except for Keisha Lewis's Act 1 finale and Shoshana Bean's Brandon Victor Dixon Don't Come Near Our House Anymore Act 2 song, which should be cut even though she sings the house down on it, just because the next scene he comes in, he's like, I'm back, and she goes, dinner's at 6. I'm like, then we didn't need that song. Someone was like, what's your thought on Hell's Kitchen? I say, Shoshana Bean spends most of Act 1 serving food, and I don't like that.
Yes.
Point is, they do Empire State of Mind at the end of Hell's Kitchen. They do New York, New York at the end of New York, New York. And the audience jumped to their feet both times.
They're like, this is what we came for.
Yeah. And it's like, listen, they do the number well, but I'm sitting there going, it's the same thing with Heather's. I saw all of you sit on your hands for 2 hours. And now at the end, when they give you something that touches your heart in a chemical way, you walk out and you go, I just saw the best.
You forget everything else.
Yep. I just saw the best thing ever.
Yes.
And that
Do you think that's what the mega mix is in Mamma Mia?
No, because I had pure joy from start to finish in Mamma Mia.
Yeah, we love Mamma Mia around here.
Actually, you want to know what Mamma Mia does really intelligently is it uses 4 of the 5 most iconic ABBA songs in the show, 3 of which are in Act 1. Mamma Mia, Dancing Queen, something else.
Yeah.
And then they do Winner Takes It All in 2, and I've talked about this all the time,
Yeah.
where they put Winner Takes It All is brilliant.
Yeah.
And they don't do Waterloo. Waterloo is an encore. It's very, I've said...
It's well structured.
Well, Mamma Mia is stupidity done well, like
Yeah.
like Titanic. It's nostalgia done well, and people are always trying to get back to what Mamma Mia does. And I'm like, Mamma Mia is kind of a magic trick, because also nobody
It is.
involved with Mamma Mia has been able to replicate it. So it's sometimes a good thing is just a good thing and let it live alone. But no, like, you think about all of that with others. I mean, like, even just the plot. Usually when somebody passes, everyone wants to speak well of them because you don't want to speak ill of the dead, but also then people make it about themselves. It's not just who they were, it's how they touched me. I'm suffering the most now because I know them so well.
Well, that's probably true because the person who died is dead.
Yeah,
So they're not suffering.
they're not suffering no more. Chelsea, this has been delightful.
Matt, it really has.
I'm so glad you came aboard.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for finally agreeing.
I mean, I agreed a long time ago. We just couldn't get our shit together.
I don't like this narrative. I like the narrative that I
kept refusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, she was simply too booked.
You're just so hard to spend time with. It's just so unpleasant.
Chelsea, you can't just say truths like that on the podcast. I have people who decide to listen to me. They can't go, wait a second, have I been wrong this entire time? You have been, but it's okay. We love you anyway. Chelsea, where can people find you if you want them to find you?
I'm on Instagram for the first time in 3 years. I took a long break, people, which means I am of sound mind. It's at Chelsea Williams. Chelsea, Chelseaa, Williams, Willlyums.
Yes, sir. She's quite a sight to see on Instagram, I'll say that.
Sometimes.
You post when you feel like it.
There's a bikini pic on there.
Yeah. Oh, I saw. Chelsea, if I know when you were in Boston post-grad, I know all of your Instagrams.
You know more than most. Oy, oy, oy.
I know. I've got a problem. If you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram only at Matt Koplik, usual spelling. If you like the podcast, give us a nice 5-star rating or review. You can also go on the Patreon for extra bonus content. Join us next week for I Don't Know What. It's all been out of order, y'all, but it'll be exciting either way. Chelsea, in post, I'm going to add a little diva to sing us out. Who would you like to have us sing out today?
Oh my God. Should we have some Barrett?
We can absolutely have Barrett.
Yeah,
Or we can have... Is there a singer you want the children to hear?
Ooh.
It could be Barrett. It could be Winona singing Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb.
Where does that exist?
In the movie when she and JD are fighting about Kurt and Ram.
Oh.
He goes, you wanted it. She goes, I did not want them dead. He goes, yeah, you did. I did not. Did
Yeah.
you? Mary had
No,
a...
yeah, that's what it should be.
Okay.
That's what it should
That's
be.
what
For sure.
I mean,
I feel like we need to honor the movie since we spoke so highly of it this whole time.
we should. We'll close
Yeah.
out with that little bit.
Yes.
Young love. All right. So that's it, guys. Yeah. I think this might be the first time in Broadway Breakdown history that we've not only closed out with a movie, but with dialogue instead of song. But Winona Ryder,
That
baby.
feels right.
It does feel right. This is good for us. All right. Take it away, Winona and Christian. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
I did not want them dead.
You did too.
I did not.
Did too.
I did not.
Did too.
I did not.
Did too.
Did not.
Did too.
Did not. Did not. Did not.
Sorry,
Shut
you
up.
died.
I did not want them to.
Oh, come on, you
Mary
did. You're
had
just
a
not.
little lamb,
I know what you.
Young love.
Did you hear? School's canceled today because Kurt and Ram killed themselves in a repressed homosexual suicide pact.
No way.